You're live.
Hey guy, okay. So let's do a little intro of each other and who we are, basically politically for the podcast audience. I'll start with me. Hi, I'm Neville. So to describe me, I would say I'm pretty squarely like liberal. I'm not far left. I'm about like center left. I vote Democrat. My general beliefs are like I generally like a lot of the freedoms America offers. I also am progressive in terms of culture, economics. I'm very more expansive welfare policies, and yeah, that generally describes me. You can go on to
All right.
Joash.
Okay. That's rude, man. All right, Joash.
Hi, I'm Joash Abraham. Uh, I am a conservative. I am center right. I am both socially and economically conservative. I believe in a small yet powerful government with fewer yet ample regulation. Um, I believe in uh, lesser amounts of government intervention in foreign affairs and basically the typical conservative ideology that we've seen since the Reagan presidency. I'll pass it on to Yash.
Hi, I'm Yash. To describe my political ideology, I'm mostly an independent. I have a mix of views from liberal, conservative, and libertarian things. My fundamentals tend to be based around freedom and maximizing individual liberty, while also trying to balance that with a decent amount of government power. And I'm also a bit of an I prefer to prioritize domestic stuff over foreign affairs. I'll pass it on to Abhishek.
All right. My name's Abhishek. I'm generally a liberal in pretty much most things, and but I think the most important things of my policy are foreign policy wise, where I'm, as Yash knows, something of an interventionist. So oh, you'll see as this goes on a bit more. But I'm mostly just a liberal, vote Democrat. Yeah, I'll pass it to Sam.
Hello, my name is Sam Rivera Luna. I'm a pretty far left kind of guy. I believe ideologically in the ideas of socialism and a lot of Marxist ideas. But in a more practical sense, I'm pretty progressive in every sort of area. And that's pretty much it. I guess
So
we're all done.
yeah. So Keelan or Xfinity isn't here this episode, but we'll see him next episode. He stands similarly to Will Sam is,
Yeah,
although they
he's
have
a
slight
hardline
differences.
Stalinist.
Yeah, yeah. So they're around there. Okay. So the topic of this episode, we'll have an open discussion on the election predictions for 2024 and overall the future of politics. Right now, we're like, it's July. We have like 3, 4 months, 5 months, whatever, until November, and we'll see who the 2024 president is and who will take office in 2025, January 21st. I think it's that day. I don't know. But yeah. So let's have an open discussion on that. Election predictions generally, how are things looking right now? We just came off the first debate. Um,
Right.
yeah,
That was fun.
So we did
All
have
right.
Vivek Ramaswamy continuously saying that the Democrats would most definitely have to get rid of Biden and then find another Democratic candidate. But as we saw in the current debate, it appears to be kind of late to make that switch, meaning that if they were to, that would be extremely detrimental to the party as a whole. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go in terms of whether or not they're going to keep Biden in the run.
Yeah, I would agree with you here. I feel like if there was a time to make this switch, that time was definitely the Democratic
past.
convention, which
Yeah.
I think Kamala would be at least more capable rhetorically and speech wise, but I don't see at this point that benefiting the presidential campaign.
Yeah.
Actually, if we look at some polling data that leaked, I believe Neville.
Yes, I can show. Hold up. I shall share. Okay.
Yeah, so we
So
can see that the debate drop
Fix the
off.
camera.
here, do you see it?
Yeah, so we can see that the debate drop off, the post debate drop off in vote and polling for Biden was quite significant post debate, and that's because obviously people lost faith from his speaking ability during that debate. But what we can learn from this graph is that any Democratic candidate that isn't Biden is going to have a lot more support.
Yeah, I'm doing some on the
Mm.
fly.
I think at this point it's better to cut their losses with Biden and just replace them.
Really?
Mhm.
So you stand with the placing Biden
Yeah.
stance? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I believe we have
Go on.
polling data that says that Kamala has a 3-point lead above Trump, whereas obviously Biden is like -10 in some states.
Yeah, and then when we look at the, I know this is a popular vote, the Economist polls, it seems Trump is leading right now in the
Oh
polling.
yeah, he is. Oh wow.
It's interesting because actually, if we look at this graph, we see Biden did hold a lead at the beginning of this race, right? A pretty, I wouldn't say strong, but he held a good lead. The polling was in his favor most of the time. It seems when things hit September, October, and interestingly, that's when all of the Israeli Gaza stuff happened.
Right.
We see a drop in Biden's popularity and an increase too of Trump's. So
Yeah. The Trump trials were the first hit to Biden's standing amongst the American people, and the situation concerning the Gaza, West Bank, and the Palestinians definitely hit him harder.
yeah, and I think Trump's done a good job of like manipulating, like of using the fact that people, Democrats especially, dislike Biden's policy on Israel. Like Trump hasn't been like Trump is like if you go to a Trump rally, you can hear them chanting "Genocide Joe," like
Yeah.
which I find ironic considering Trump is pro-Israel. But still, it just goes to show that like this is such a negative thing.
I mean,
Hoarding
Honestly,
Biden.
while
I
he
think
is. Oh, do you want to talk?
you can go.
Oh no, it's fine. You can go. You can go.
No, you can go.
So
Okay,
kind.
fine. Oh, okay,
So
fine. I'll go.
kind.
All right. Because like, well, yeah, Trump is pro-Israel. He's like way less interventionist, at least as far as I know. So I
No,
feel
he's
like he
not.
still has like, I think he has a little bit of like, he has like some him
He mostly
criticizing Biden has like
No,
some level of validity, I think.
he does for Ukraine, but for
yeah, that's what I was about to say. So overall, he's less interventionist, he's an isolationist, but for Israel, it seems he would,
for Israel, he
Right.
wants to go harder.
which
He
is,
said
yeah,
to Biden,
It's an interesting dynamic, like
he
seeing
said,
how pro-Israel the entirety of the U.S. government is, especially the Democratic Party, but then you see the voters for the Democrats
was,
being
yeah,
the complete
for
opposite.
Palestine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
I think it goes back to the history of the Israeli-U.S. alliance and like our
Right.
government likes like the pragmatic benefits we get with intel and like a stronghold in the Middle East, having an alliance there. It's like that I think a lot of congressmen and people see those things. But there's also a lot of pro-Palestinian people in Congress still. Like we see like pushes from AOC, from Bernie Sanders
Right.
to condemn Netanyahu. Yeah, there could be a big shift within power of the progressives.
yeah, to the extent that there is pro-Palestinian support, it really only comes from the Democratic Party. The Republican Party is very pro-Israel, ironically.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes,
But Nick
yes.
Fuentes
Yeah, but
is,
he's not really a Republican, isn't he?
yeah,
Like,
he's just a Nazi.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, but you're totally right. I feel like this election, I don't see it changing really much of anything for Israel. Well, and Palestine. Unless, Bernie somehow wins. I don't know.
yeah, why is
Yeah,
Kennedy so
Bernie comes
low?
in with the steel chair, man.
We can go to another poll and still we see Trump's leading in terms of who's ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
They show Kennedy too. Kennedy
Why
is
is he so
funny.
low? Why
I
is he
wonder
so
if
low?
I mean I knew from the start of this race to now there's no chance a third party like Kennedy is gonna win.
Yeah.
But I was excited to see how Kennedy's thing would turn out because I think he has a bigger like platform than most third parties would, and I think that's cool.
He stayed
And
pretty consistent though. Like,
yeah,
if you look at it,
I'm
like,
actually happy with Kennedy's performance. He did better than I thought he would.
I wouldn't say that's a positive thing, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying, like, I mean, actually, uh,
I
I'm
mean, I
not I'm
think
not a pro Kennedy candidate voter, but like what I'm trying to say is like seeing a change that third parties could rise up is generally a good thing, right?
yeah, like
I
for all
don't
we know, we could start
necessarily.
seeing like the Libertarian Party and the Green Party and like other like and like the Forward Party and other parties and other third parties starting to become more and more prominent
I
like in the
disagree
future.
that. I
Yeah, it appears
disagree
as
that
if the
that.
American people are almost getting tired of a two-party
Yeah,
system.
exactly.
I
So we
disagree that
never
that's
know.
the indication. I think RFK is a hard right-wing candidate that is popular among a lot of voters who, don't like Trump anymore.
Really, you think he's more right wing than
No, I
left?
don't think he's more right-wing than Trump.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying for right-wing voters who don't trust Trump anymore, which is quite a lot, because you have to think he still did do an insurrection.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly that ruffles some feathers with some of the voter base, at least. Obviously, their right-wing quick candidate going to be RFK.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
also think that kind of anti-government thing that's been the majority of his campaign, like that is, we'll say right-wing coded. It's not really. I feel like to the extent that he draws votes, it would mostly be from the right wing. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
even
yeah,
then,
he's
it's
taking
not
I
more
agree.
enough
voters from
to.
Trump.
It's not enough to do really
What
much.
What's funny is I'm seeing a lot of Nikki Haley voters vote for Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, Nikki Haley is she's basically just a Republican on paper. Right? Policy-wise, she's like almost entirely liberal.
Yeah, she is
I
like
wouldn't
she is
really describe
very
it that way, but
Um,
yeah.
I do know that Nikki Haley has like done things that are like to me like it's funny from I'm a liberal, right? So like from my perspective it's like reasonable things, but from the right to like kind of made or controversial. So I know one thing is like on the day George Floyd died or something, she tweeted prayers and that got like a lot of controversy for some reason and that like alienated her a lot. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
it didn't help that like Biden himself was saying like, "Oh no, yeah, all the Nikki Haley supporters just vote for me." So yeah, I mean he's capitalizing off the fact that she's so like incredibly like close to the center and like she is
Right.
basically like there was a there was a guy who used to in the Democratic Party. I forget his name. He left it recently, but he was like the most like conservative member of the party. I'm gonna search him up. But I don't know, like I don't actually know how similar he was to her, but like they give off the same vibes where they're like conservative but somehow still vaguely liberal.
Okay. Past the like when you can look at this poll too. Do voters want Republicans or Democrats in Congress? Democrats do have a slight lead amongst voters. That's a cool thing. So it seems like there's like some form of Democratic still
Yeah.
pushes.
Yeah, I saw some statistics I think a while back where it was like there are technically more registered Democratic voters, but
Yeah.
they're yeah, even though there are more Republicans in office. So I
Oh
think there is
God.
like a slight like there is like a slight push I think among the more progressive elements of American society to have more I think Democratic candidates in office.
Uh, Josh, you see my screen, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about this poll on screen right now? How popular is Joe Biden?
Yeah.
On
So these polls, concerning his popularity, they have basically been somewhat the same since I would say like the winter of this past year. Um, and I'm not really surprised, honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised if his ratings went even lower following the current debate.
This is crazy. 57.1% of people disapprove of Biden, and then the approval rate's 37.1.
Yeah.
I wonder what the average is compared to other presidents, but this overall, I would say, is not like the best thing.
I think, to be fair, that does include the people who disapprove of Biden and are
Yeah,
still voting because of anti-Trump.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. So
Yeah, there are a
that's
lot
why,
of Democrats that are continuing to just not
that's
even
yeah.
consider Trump to be a choice because they're loyal to the Democrat Party.
We
So
could look at polls also that show how favorable or unfavorable Donald Trump is. And actually, unfavorable, Donald Trump is 53.6% unfavorable and 41.8, which, although these numbers are still not the best, they are better than Biden's. No.
Are these for the general? This is for the general population, right?
I believe so.
Well, when we're talking about loyalty in this manner, you gotta think about the type of people that are being polled whenever these polls happen.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Something that I think we can all kind of agree on is Republicans have a lot more party loyalty or like loyalty to certain candidates than Democrats in general. I mean, you can see that clearly with the conflict in Gaza.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of Biden's previous voters have probably turned into non-voters due to the conflict and their moral qualms with it. Whereas with the Republican Party, yeah, even though Trump did lose quite a bit of support, probably to RFK and Nikki Haley from the insurrection, the vast majority of his base is still supporting him. So obviously, whenever we look at polls like these, Biden's going to be off worse. But when it comes down to it on election day, I'd say it's probably more likely that his voter base will still show up because, the alternative is someone
Yeah.
who disagrees with them even more.
Now, I have an interesting question. Okay, so with this election, we're seeing something that we have seen before to an extent, but I wonder if it's like to a greater extent. Well, the Republican Party have chosen Trump as their candidate. Like the
Yeah.
allegiance to Trump is something that I've it's in like very strong. Republicans are
Right. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
adamant about
Conservatives are more
Trump.
loyal to individual politicians than they are to the party as a whole, whereas it's the opposite with Democrats. I
So
see.
I was gonna ask, have you ever seen in history? I think Ronald Reagan would be the example, but such loyalty to one candidate. Like
Yeah, I
I
don't.
only imagine FDR to the Democrats and Ronald Reagan to the Republicans.
Yeah,
Like,
I haven't. Yeah, we haven't had anything like this since Reagan, for sure.
Example, not in America, but
okay, yeah,
it's
that's fine.
you know, okay, I'm gonna pivot from my previous example. So in Orban in Hungary kind of has that too. I think it's more of a staple of right-wing populism. I don't know if that to what extent that existed with like Mitt Romney, but I think that's just a populist thing. I think that would
Yeah, for sure.
I think if Bernie was the leading figure of the Democrat Party, there's a good chance that would come about. Or like Andrew
Yeah.
Yang.
I don't know, because I feel like they might alienate some of like the really, really, really moderate Democrats, because because of some of their policies, which are a bit more farther left than like I think what some voters might like.
Well, that's why they
Here's a good
stopped him from
question.
being elected
Yeah,
during the
Josh?
For those
primary.
for those of you that are liberal but don't want Biden to continue in the race, who would you rather have as the prime Democratic candidate?
Yeah, that's interesting. Sam,
As the
actually,
prime Democratic candidate who would still get elected, I mean, obviously, having Bernie would be amazing.
Bernie, yeah, he seems the most likely. I mean, I don't know about Gavin
No,
Newsom
he's
or Michelle
We're
Obama,
definitely
but
not going to put him in there.
yeah.
If we
Yeah,
learn
I
anything
agree.
about the Democratic establishment, it's that they hate Bernie and they will never let him get elected. They scammed him out of the primaries in 2016 and 2020 because he is not establishment enough for them. That goes back to what Abhishek was talking about.
yeah,
When we talk about populist candidates versus establishment candidates are funded by money. Populist candidates like Bernie are funded by the people. The problem is in this party system, you have to work with the establishment, and obviously they don't like Bernie. So when we talk about viable alternatives that the Democratic Party will actually want to support, most likely it's going to be Kamala Harris or
Yeah. I
good
mean,
old
like,
gruesome Gavin Newsom.
which is also important for like what topics you run on, because like I see candidates like it's you can't run on poverty, even if you want to like solve it. That won't appeal to like these rich donors or voters. You have to run on like things that appeal, and it's like it sucks that this happens in our system, but it's kind of just the way it is.
I think
I know.
Gavin Newsom becoming president would be hilarious. So
Yeah.
I kind of support that.
Knowing what he's done with San Francisco, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, like I feel like people in California, at least as far as I know, don't like him enough. Like don't really like him that much. I don't think we could see
Well, it's a
him
bit
being
strange
nominated.
because he has
Like I think
pretty good policy, except for housing policy, which is why not taxes, which is why rent is so high.
Yeah.
And he kind of refuses to fix it, even though he probably knows what the problem is. Which I suspect is due to lobbying or something. Because it's a very strange situation that he could easily fix, and he chooses not to.
Yeah. So it probably is lobbying. I've found another poll where Trump is ahead 1% nationally, while Biden is ahead in the battleground states. You know what would be the funniest thing? If this election Biden loses the popular vote, but somehow wins the electoral vote. That would be the most insane thing
Yeah.
ever.
Pretty
It's
funny.
definitely possible.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened to Trump in 2016.
And basically, it would prove that the
Yeah.
Electoral College is.
Yeah.
that-
The disappointment in the country would be insane.
Look, I would take it. I would be fine. I would take it, but also it would prove that the Electoral College is just dead.
So I think that at least they would get the Republicans against it, and they control the
Yeah.
Supreme Court. So
Honestly, I think that's the best possible outcome. Is that the Electoral College goes away.
Yeah. Talking about battleground states, though, so the battleground states this year, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So, this is interesting. I don't really have high hopes, though, for these states, but I guess Biden is winning right now. States. What do you guys think? Any states?
I mean, this poll is from June 9th, and a lot has changed since then. So I don't know if what's on screen right now. I don't know if that applies currently.
Yeah, that's fair because of the, the
Debate.
debate. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
the
the debate
debate
changed everything.
is Biden losing a ton in all those states.
Yeah, I don't imagine Biden winning Pennsylvania, and that might be the nail in the coffin for me.
Right.
I think
The
whoever
swing
wins
state.
Pennsylvania wins the election. Like,
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
just comes down to that.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
okay, guys.
unironically think
I'm
that.
gonna go out
Trump
some
won
cans.
Pennsylvania in 2016, right?
Probably if he
Yeah.
I think it went
if he
Trump
won the
Biden, but let me check.
then Trump. You check, Abby, check if
Yeah,
you
I'm
want.
checking.
Pennsylvania is a very interesting.
Yeah,
Place.
he won by by like 50,000 votes.
You have
Oh,
like the
God.
cool
In
side of
2016.
Pennsylvania with the cities, and that's where all the libs live. And then you got
Yeah.
the east side of Pennsylvania with all the mega churches.
I
And
I
that's where
I
the
was there
Republicans live.
I was there last week. I saw so many MAGA flags and stuff. Joash is going there today, right?
I'm not going to Philly. I don't really know where exactly I'm going. I'm going more to the rural part of
But you're going to
Pennsylvania. It's still
Pennsylvania.
just
Yeah.
about an hour away. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. That as for like Georgia, I think Biden did win Georgia in
Yeah,
2020.
he did.
Yeah, and he won North Carolina, right?
I think so.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because those are most south on states.
No, Trump won in 2020.
But Georgia,
North Carolina.
North
Yeah.
Carolina. Okay. Yeah, but Nevada's probably gonna go to Biden, right?
I think so.
'Cause-
Yeah.
I posted it's somewhere. I posted my prediction. Uh,
The prediction.
Hopefully the
but
Democrats
my
just force
prediction
out
was
Biden.
I don't remember it exactly, but it was 270 for the Republicans and 268 for the Democrats. I don't see the election not being that close.
Even I don't know.
How controversial do you
wait,
guys think this election will be for future
Super
generations?
Oh yeah,
I don't
I mean, it
Gonna-
depends. It depends on like if the like electoral college decision like contradicts the popular vote. Because if it does by like a lot, then I think it's going to be like an insane moment in U.S. history.
Yeah.
Because like
I
there
think
is
I feel like the popular vote's going to be very close on both sides.
yeah.
everything is gonna be.
That's usually how it is. It's
I
always close.
doubt this election will be controversial.
Really?
for,
You don't
like-
think you don't
Really?
think Trump does like something insane? Like think like it
I mean,
says
that's what I'm
vague.
gonna say. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna be controversial unless something illegal happens.
No,
I don't.
not even.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I imagine this Trump, if he loses, he calls it rigged, and then
Yeah,
he sues.
exactly.
He sets up like 50,000 cases.
Like, that's the only reason why it'd be controversial. Other than
Alright,
that,
I said
it's
my
2020
pretty-
wasn't
I think there's
controversial
enough.
without the insurrection. Like,
Yeah, we
like,
better
look at-
not get Insurrection Part 2, you know.
No, we can't have a second January 6th again. Like,
Okay.
it's
Okay,
gonna
but it would be
destroy.
fun.
It would be funny, but
Alright,
Yeah.
wait, can you share the thing I just said? Or
Hold up. Okay. Hold up. Let me just get this on. Oh, put this right here. This is Abhishek's prediction. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. This is interesting. Okay, so we have let's see. I'm looking for Pennsylvania right now. I can't see it.
It's there. It's yeah. It has 19.
Oh, PA, yeah, 1919. Yeah, so that's red. Yeah, the North Carolina goes to Doc. What the heck? Okay.
oh yeah, no, I meant to just make that light. Yeah, that's
Okay. South Carolina goes. Okay. Georgia he gets. We're always gonna get California. Biden's always gonna get California. Trump's always gonna get Texas.
One state I feel might be
Oh,
different
yeah.
is New York.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like New York might go red.
I don't think so. I think
No, New York does not go
No,
red.
I think you go.
I think rumors of. I feel like all of every single election that like I've been politically interested in, like there's always been some kind of a like, oh, this relatively like solid blue or solid red state, oh, blue Texas,
Yes.
blue New York, and it never happens. I
The-
think
they-
that's just pundits.
In
I don't
2016,
see it.
in 2016 they said Texas was going purple. Like it was
No.
insane.
Yeah, New
And
York
it did.
going red is
Yo, okay, I don't know what's happening to the mics. Everyone's like echoing.
Oh, I think
yeah,
I think
I think
whoever wait, who's streaming?
No, that's
right now?
because I opened Discord. Like I'm screen
Oh.
sharing.
Okay.
Is there any way where you could like turn off the sound
Wait,
for your
just
stream?
open that in browser. All right, that works.
It's fine. Okay, I'll reopen the. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, point is, I mean, right now, but I would say for the would you say like for the Republican Party, it's looking like it is looking a bit better now for them? Because I would say I was pretty confident before for the Liberal or Democratic Party, but now I'm like on the edge.
I
For
have
Biden.
no more optimism. I felt like it was foreshadowed that Trump was gonna come back since 2020. That I don't see it. Like I don't know. I feel like everything that has happened since like it's 2022 has been somehow, at least like public opinion wise, has been leading
Yeah.
up to it. Now I think it's like I said this to a couple of you before, but I think it's just a massive PR failure for Biden. That like, because everything that he's done, he has not been emphasized in PR, and then everything bad that he's done, Trump emphasized like insanely well.
It is pretty striking especially if we look at policy decisions and how much the American people agree with policy. Biden has like 50 or so policies that are like very well favored by the American public according to polls. And then when we look at that same number for Trump has like 5 or something. I think it's 9
Yeah.
policies that the American people actually liked. It's like
Yeah.
it's very striking that by like if we look at the numbers, Biden's policies are hugely popular among the American public, and yet, like Abhishek said, nobody knows about anything he's really done, and now people think that Trump is a preferable.
That's a failure of the Democrat or the Biden campaign to like not like talk about amazing policies they've passed, like the ARP or the IOA or like the infrastructure bill. He's like Biden has done so many policies that he hasn't like emphasized that, hey, I did this. Like while Trump has been bragging about anything he can get his hands on, even things he like didn't like specifically do. Right? We see during the debate, like he takes
like
credit
Roe
for
v.
the.
Wade.
Yeah, that, but
Yeah,
like he takes credit for like all of the 2016 economy, even though like he didn't do many of the policies that contributed to that, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything that contributed to it, but he kept it going.
Well, that's I don't know if that's a difficult thing to do. He didn't mess it up, guys.
That describes Trump perfectly too. With foreign policy, also, he was like, because of his isolationism, people like to say, "Hey, under Trump, we got into no wars," but that's because like
That's not
we
even
didn't
true.
really.
I mean, if we look at
That's not
Ukraine
even
and
true.
Russia, though,
Yeah. Like, well, what I was saying is like Trump like detached himself from a lot of like foreign policy. So like, I don't know if it's like, but I guess that did end up being a benefit for his campaign. Well, people can say Biden's in this caused the Israeli Gaza war and Russia Ukraine. Well, people are like, there's peace under Trump. When like yeah, Abhishek, what are you gonna say?
No, it's that like uh I feel like this debate has really shown something, like a new development in American politics, where the policy of the candidate
Don't
is
matter.
a lot less important. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's not, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good thing.
I don't think it's necessarily Biden's actions that led to these two conflicts. It's more or less the fact that he was the sitting president at the time that, if you could say, inspired these two countries to
Look, I feel like that's
start
kind
combat.
of, I think that for at least for the Russia-Ukraine war, which I think I am more knowledgeable about, but I think it's those plans for invading Ukraine existed since 2014. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't think it's the case of this president was in power or this president was in power. It's the case of Russia wanted to take over Ukraine, and so they took Crimea, and then they took Ukraine, and they gambled on Ukraine just being a pushover, and they were not, and that's the story. I don't see, as in, if like if Trump was in power in 2022, I still see that happening.
Yeah. But what's it with like also with the policy behind like helping Ukraine? I think well, I saw one stat that said more Americans say the U.S. is not helping Ukraine enough. So that's interesting. Even the
No,
populace.
I don't think that. I mean, we've given
Yeah.
the European Union has given less than half of what we've given. Like, they're relying on us entirely at
The
this point.
EU
And
also has less of the capacity to give. It's
I mean,
there.
you do have Germany, which is the strongest economy
Yeah,
in all of
yeah,
Europe.
yeah.
You have
Like Germany,
Switzerland. You have these powerhouses that are more than capable, but they only send like 3 to 4 tanks.
yeah,
they've sent
Germany and
almost
France.
nothing.
Yeah,
well, I
Germany,
mean, I
France,
think if we
Italy.
think about Germany, we should understand that they kind of, you know, unfocused their military,
Well,
unfocused on their military
they
since
they've
World War
been they've been kind of building
II.
it back up. Is the
They
thing.
started building it back up after Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah,
That's when they started
but
going back.
yeah, you also have Olaf Scholz, who is not very competent
But
foreign
the
policy
European Union
wise.
in general is very weak militarily. Like they've been kind of vibing up there.
And they're also having a
So
shift towards the right, like a pretty notable one, where
Yeah,
you
you can
yeah,
see that
have
in
and
like
that's gonna be the
France,
same thing.
Hungary, like Germany as well with the AfD becoming a big thing. Like, yeah,
I mean, that's really one part of the problems when we think about where the right wing candidates are popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
We're gonna have very few compassionate countries left in the world. And it's gonna cause a lot of problems for countries like Ukraine.
Now, I think this poll was from March 2024, last updated, but it does show that I believe that more Americans think the U.S. is not doing enough for Ukraine. So that's interesting.
But
I
then
think
there's
that
also the question of the amount of money that even went untraced, like entirely. Like,
Alright, I don't know about that. I haven't seen anything very
It's
credible saying that
conspiracy
like
theory
money
time, guys.
really like disappeared. But and the money that we have spent has been spent mainly in the defense sector of America. It's not like we're just handing them money on a silver platter. It's not the Onion's money hole. We're this is being invested into America's defense industry. We're becoming stronger because of this, and Russia, which is not our friend, it is repeatedly shown itself to be against us in everything it's done. That they are also being weakened. so foreign policy wise, this Ukrainian war and continuing, helping Ukraine win, which I think is possible in the future. I think is the best split.
In terms of foreign policy, do you think Americans prefer Trump or Biden more? Like generally.
I think Americans probably like being isolationists. Like,
Yeah.
that's what they've been for the majority of their history.
There's a safety. I feel like citizens prioritize that like safety aspect of isolationism.
I
That
feel
were
That
like
being said,
And also
though,
after like a lot of the interventionism common to like presidents like Obama and then like both of the Bushes and stuff. I
Bush.
feel like a lot of
Yeah.
yeah, like a
that's
lot of people
that's
are
a good
dissatisfied with interventionism, and so I think
yes.
there is gonna be there is a big push for isolationism.
Those
Yeah,
are
those ideas of interventionism were particularly strong when we ourselves were attacked by a foreign group. So
Yeah.
it more or less has to do with whether our rights and liberties are threatened by someone else.
I
So
think
those feelings of interventionism are on high rise in those
I think
situations.
the American populace, like from the administrations of Bush and Obama, they're like very scared of like the consequences of interventionism. And I think that fear, in personally, I disagree with that fear. I think we should move past it. But I think that fear is within like Americans' hearts. Like things like 9/11 have forever like stained
Yeah.
our opinion on that
that
stuff.
being said, though, there is a surprising amount of support for intervention in Ukraine, which I think is a good sign of things moving.
I think
Moving well.
probably because of the fact that like in Ukraine we're not really sending like troops or anything. Yeah, it's really just resources and money.
I mean, yeah,
And it's
but
also not like
that's every conflict,
Israel Palestine, because like that's a really controversial conflict with Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine is
Yeah,
undeniably the good
that's
guy.
Mostly everyone is on one side. Yeah.
Yeah.
like the populace were
Here,
against
guys,
helping.
don't discount the tanky vote.
Yeah. Yeah, so like with Israel Palestine is another example. Like it seems like most of the population wouldn't support funding Israel, I think. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
both
don't
have
think.
said the majority are
Yeah.
against it. Which is kind of funny. Both candidates are pro-Israel, and then the
Yeah, it's
majority
like
is
you see like in
Yeah,
the
and their
debate they're
people are
arguing,
just.
and then the second Israel comes up, they're all like, "Ah, we love Israel, guys."
I think the majority of the American public doesn't know enough about that particular conflict and the history of Israel, which is it's it. I mean, everyone believes that it only started in 1948, but the truth is that particular land has been majority Jewish throughout human history. And the only reason there are Jews across Europe and Asia are because of the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire, and all these other empires that came in and dispersed the Jews across the globe. In fact, Gaza was originally a primarily Jewish settlement, if not almost entirely. But obviously, we know that the Ottoman Empire drove them out, and now it's a majority's Arab settlement. So, wait, you were gonna say something now?
I didn't think that's really relevant to like the current conflict, though.
No, but to
Right, but
connect
not knowing that,
with
not knowing that makes them side with. Wait, what?
Joash's point kind of expands to the general thing about voting, or like I don't think most voters are knowledgeable about like anything, like most things, which is funny because the like here's an example where you could see this, right? A lot of Republicans, they support things. If you ask them in a poll, would you support spending cuts? They'll be like, yeah, I want to spend less. But then once you ask them what to cut, that's when like no one knows what to cut, right? So like it's interesting how like we're not knowledge, like a lot of kind of voters aren't knowledgeable about the specific things they want.
Yeah, and I've said this like a lot, I think, to you, and
Yeah.
all the time. Basically, there's a really big problem in America where people are just not interested in politics, even though it's
Yeah.
obviously what defines their future and the future
Yeah.
of what everything that's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
And that's why
most
we really need a
most of
big
America
push in
looks at all of these
education.
conflicts from an emotional standpoint
I saw
Yeah.
rather
some
than
like
from a strategic
I
point of
saw
view.
some
Well,
statistics
I
a
don't think
while
it's a
back,
bad
which
thing either.
I mean
Yeah, I
I
Like,
don't
saw
think that
you can be
completely bad.
emotional and informed about it. I don't. I don't think we need to look at it strategic per se. Like, yes, we should attack. We should defend Israel because we can have intelligence
No, but
on
I
I mean, I
our
don't think we should be defending Israel because they have more than enough resources to defend themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Josh's point is that Americans like solely look at it from an emotional standpoint when we should be looking at it from multiple
Reasonable.
Yeah,
standpoints.
from
Yeah,
from a holistic thing, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But also, I
Um,
think
there you
You
go,
can
Yash.
continue.
oh yeah. So I remember going back to the whole topic on like Americans not really like being interested in voting and not being knowledgeable about a lot of policies and stuff. Like I remember seeing like a chart a while back which was comparing like voting turnouts in different countries. And
Yeah.
like yeah, like America was not that good. Like it wasn't like Americans are not really all that invested in politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be a push in public education about that for sure.
Yeah. No, but
That's
even
for
so, like
sure.
I feel like a lot of like even a lot of like civic education programs in their country, like they are still doing that. They are making a push for that. Just that like I think it's just an issue with American culture or like our current society that's preventing us from becoming more involved in politics that I don't think just simply pushing for education can fix. Like there's gonna have to
With
be a genuine societal change.
Yeah,
yeah,
especially with the history of that particular area of land, because we see that the majority of the pro-Palestinian movement continuously says that, it's stolen land. It belonged to the Muslims or the Arabs, right? They think that I don't know, for some reason they think that Jews originated from Europe, which is
I
surprisingly
don't. I
very
think when
popular
they say
ideology.
that, they mean
Okay.
like the
they're
land
talking
was
about
I think they're
1948.
referring more so to like places in like the West Bank where like there's like Israeli like settlements
I
popping
think
up. I
they're.
think
Yeah, I
I
think they're
think
talking
rather
about the
than I
people
mean
who live
granted there
there
are
now.
people
I
sorry.
think
Not
even
like the
then,
people who lived there thousands of years ago.
Yeah,
It's
and I think
not
even
really
then,
relevant.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
because like I
think
think
even then, any like sort of revanchist, this land was ours 2,000 years ago, so it should be ours now.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not
yeah,
that's not a valid
It's not
argument.
it's not just that it was their land 2000 years ago. Even continuously throughout history, they were the majority. Jews were always the majority in that
Okay,
land. It
but
was
who
never
is there?
Muslims.
Who's
no, no, no,
living
no,
there
no. They
now
want
doesn't
they want
matter.
the majority in the what's it 1917s. Like they're
yeah.
growing the population, but the Arabs did take the majority around the
I mean, at the end of
1900s.
the day, we can all agree that the British kind of messed everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can agree with that.
And besides, if
Yeah.
you think about this from a more critical perspective, like pro-Palestinian perspective, most pro-Palestinian people would prefer, well, a lot of them at least, would prefer a one-state solution where both ethnic
Really?
groups live in harmony.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard more arguments on the left for two-state solutions rather
Yeah,
than
me
one
too.
state.
Well,
I
it
Yeah,
don't
like
think
depends
Yeah,
how
that's
far
what I've
left
been
you're
hearing.
thinking. A two-state solution is a very liberal mindset.
yeah,
I know,
but
but
the
a
Everything
thing
like
one-state
it's
left.
solution is gonna be
dominant.
so hard. Like there's just so like the conflict stretches back so much. Like having a singular state, I think would
The
be it
the
would just be really
problem is
hard to
that,
like prevent any conflict from occurring.
which is a really interesting issue for the region, because if we think about two-state solutions, the problem with that is Israel is still in control of every major access point for their country. They'll be very weak, especially after all the destruction of infrastructure. They're gonna be a very, very they a very wounded
You're
kind of force
referring
to be
you're
in.
referring to Israel, right? Not
No, I'm
Palestine?
referring to
Or
Palestine.
oh, okay.
If Palestine were to
They'll be
become a
weak.
state, they'd be an incredibly weak nation, and they would not receive much support from the outside world.
All right. What about two-state solution with Palestine joins NATO?
Which is
Oh
why a
my
lot of
God,
people
Palestine and
want
Yeah.
NATO.
like
Okay,
one-state
so
Hamas joining
solution.
NATO is interesting.
so we all
Good
okay.
idea.
Okay. To go back on topic, so we were just talking about foreign policy, right? I do think generally, I think Americans like they may prefer Trump on foreign policy, but oh, it's it
I
on
don't think Trump's foreign policy is even in the best interest of American. I think there's a perception
yeah. I
that
mean the
it's
perception they like though. That's what they like.
okay, but their perception is, I think, just to make it clear, is very wrong. He's not
Yeah.
an isolationist. He's shown that clearly with his attitude towards Israel and Palestine. He's
Well,
not an
Yeah, he more
isolationist.
so he just like
You wouldn't say he's overall an isolationist?
No, he's not an isolationist
he
at all. He
he does
doesn't
more so
support
I would say
funding
he's an
Ukraine.
isolationist, but on everything except that, which is very strange. But it's
no, not
also
just
what
Israel.
we.
No, but like
I don't think it would be just Israel. I think it's just like any close like Ukraine is like our ally,
he,
but it's not a close ally, right? Like
he
I
wouldn't
think
fund Ukraine during his presidency. He abandoned the Iran nuclear deal. He what's it? He pressured NATO into like paying equal money instead of just America paying for stuff. He what's it? He also withdrew from like a bunch of partnerships, like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I know
Paris Climate Accord.
he had
Paris Climate Accord.
tariffs, which is like From that he had tariffs, trying to make America more dominant. That's the idea, but yeah, I think he is an isolationist candidate overall.
I wouldn't say that's isolationist. We've had
Yeah,
these
he's
deals for a long time. These are like
That's true. But
like
also,
you're
he's-
affecting foreign policy and world politics a lot with these decisions.
yeah,
That's
but I
very
think
direct
I
intervention
would
into
call
he
it.
foreign
pulled
affairs.
Listen,
he
I
pulled
don't
U.S.
think. Oh, okay. I don't think I was willing to call him an isolationist, like, fully, until he said, like, the thing about Russia just going through NATO.
Yeah, let him take
Like,
him.
yeah, like
But that's
that
'cause
that was insanity.
He
And I
pulled
think,
U.S. troops. He pulled U.S. troops out of northern Syria, also abandoning the Kurdish.
oh,
Yeah.
But that was specific to the Russian conflict. He's in support of sending more aid to Israel.
I think Israel, but wait, what are some like interventionist policies besides Israel that he has?
Besides Israel, I consider his actions in a more general form, like what you're saying about him potentially pulling out of NATO, out of world agreements. I would
Yeah.
consider those things.
Okay, yeah. From
wouldn't
that, then
consider-
I'll agree.
I wouldn't consider those things isolationist. I think that's disrupting world politics.
What I meant by that is like he wants. I mean, isolationist literally. Like he wants America to be alone, like isolated
I can
from other
kind of see it.
nations.
I
But-
don't think that entirely. I think he would
I don't-
still.
Trump's
Oh.
very politically motivated in weird ways, such as in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't think.
wouldn't say he's a true isolationist.
Okay. Yeah. He's a unique
That's
one.
fair.
I think.
I think he would break the rules like
Yeah.
immediately if something were to happen.
Yeah.
And I
Now,
think
Basically, the entirety of the federal government, or whoever is an isolationist, with the exception of Israel.
yeah.
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 Now, let's move on from foreign policy. I want to move on to social policy and like things like social issues. I think, in terms of
Right.
the candidates, I think Biden leads this heavily. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
He definitely leads on the abortion issue.
Just
sure.
there's one word you just have to say: abortion.
Yeah,
I
like-
think that's like the big
Yeah.
game breaker. What do you think, Sam?
Well, yeah, Biden obviously better socially. Trump
What-
doesn't really have. He's been kind of wishy-washy about it.
Yeah. He's trying to
He's just been doing like, oh, now we're letting the states decide. Everybody wanted this defense, even though that's not really true.
Yeah, he's kind of doing, I think, sort of like an I don't really want to say an RFK thing, but like you kind of see this sort of with RFK Jr. where like his policies like in regards to social stuff seem pretty liberal, but like he'll like say stuff that like makes him seem really conservative. And I think Trump might be the opposite, where he seemingly has a lot of conservative policies, but he makes stuff that makes him sound more liberal. Like he's talking more about like states' rights and the freedom of individuals to choose and whatnot.
Well, I think
like, At the
every-
same time, advocating for more conservative like
everyone
social
in the
norms and stuff.
Republican Party, I think, realizes that abortion kind of killed a
Yeah.
ton of their momentum. So
Yeah.
they've been trying their
Yeah.
best to like pretend.
I saw.
Like,
Did you see that
doing
Carrie
something.
Lake? Did you see that Carrie Lake commercial, Sam? Well, it's
No.
like it was like her ad for like she was talking about abortion, right? She was like she's a Republican, right? She was like saying how like we understand it's a controversial. She was dodging the question basically, showing empathy.
I
Because
think-
in reality, those people want abortion, and
Yeah, Abhishek.
Yeah, and I think I was saying before, this is indicative of how policy is not really that important anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Americans care more about social stuff than like
no, I mean, not even social stuff. I think it's showing that Americans are starting to care at least more about the candidate themselves, which is it's not. I don't know if that's a good thing. At least that's what.
and I would agree with
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was
Sure.
thinking. Like the personal feelings of the candidate and the way they carry themselves. Yes, Biden doesn't carry himself well. Yes, Trump does occasionally say the odd thing, but there's no connection between the way they carry themselves and their policy necessarily. Everyone is focusing their vote on who speaks or acts in a particular way rather than what they're actually going to do, which is something
Yeah.
that I'm not a big fan of.
Although it is an interesting issue for Biden, who runs he's running on defending abortion when at
Yeah,
the
and you
moment
look
the
at his, you
Supreme
look at a lot
Court
of his
is kind of
like,
blocking that.
yeah.
I didn't think he did well in the debate at like emphasizing that, hey, I'm the pro-choice candidate and Trump is the pro-life candidate. Like I feel like he should have done a better job at that
Yeah,
debate.
like that is one area where he's like he literally like has like I think on that thing like he has like the popular vote for abortion. Like he should have capitalized on that way more.
Well, for social issues, like Trump can take credit for because of the Supreme Court rulings. It seems like he can take credit for Roe v. Wade, and also people forget this happened, ending affirmative action in college admissions. Trump also can take credit for that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Didn't
But
that happen during the Biden administration in the Supreme Court?
yeah, no, well, Roe v. Wade also happened, right? Wait, was that under Biden?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think you can really take. I don't think he would take credit for it.
When I say take credit, I mean like because of the Supreme Court.
Well,
What is
technically, the Supreme Court is trying to pretend that they're a unbiased
it?
institution, so they're
Yeah.
not really supposed to take credit for that.
I wonder, hey Josh, would you
Yeah.
concede that the Supreme Court is biased, or what do you think?
Well, me being a conservative, I would still say, yeah, it's pretty biased. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a predominantly conservative presence there, which makes sense as to why they want to overturn Roe v. Wade.
And
But obviously, they need to stay in the favor of everyone, so they'll obviously claim to be unbiased, but
yeah,
they are.
and affirmative action too. I do think affirmative action is interesting. People forget that that ended. I think most people will be upset about that.
I think it more depends on the demographic of the people though, or not demographic in relation to both political leanings and like where they are. Because like I feel like a lot of people, like I think particularly like I've seen like a lot of like groups that are really like pro like white rights or Asian rights. They're kind of like okay with affirmative action ending, since they aren't really groups that are really helped by that. So and people don't really tend to like things that don't help them. So
Yeah.
yeah, like, I would say it's a more contested thing than like say abortion, right? And like I think the country is overall pretty pro-choice. Whereas with affirmative action, I think it's a bit more divided.
Yeah, and then again with social issues, another thing that like was big throughout especially I guess 2020 to 2024 was all of the school shootings that's been happening, right? And gun control, gun policy. I think Americans, parents, people have kids in school are very like looking for like some form of safety. I think Biden also takes the popularity within gun policy. What do you guys think?
So safety, yes, but the solution is not removing guns. Because from what we've
I would
seen, you see Detroit, you see Chicago, that's exactly what they've done. They removed guns and now they have the worst crime rates in the country. So there has
yeah,
to be some sort of alternative in terms of who is actually purchasing these guns. Because a lot of these people that have purchased the guns, they already have some sort of past, like, questionable actions which they've done, yet they're still purchasing this gun. I, I feel like knowing the way the American people are, it's our brains are it's just wired differently, right? In comparison to the rest of the world. Like in Australia, they took away the guns and it worked. This is not going to work here, right? Knowing the manner in which Americans carry themselves, guns they're it's a necessity. Like you can't. It's just it doesn't work. You can't take it away.
Okay.
You
yeah.
need
Like
it
I
for
think a lot
personal
of
safety.
there's gonna be so much
Oh,
opposition. Oh,
I will say, just small fact check: the highest crime rate is in Alabama, in a random city.
What?
really? What Alabama? What?
Alabama.
Huh.
Wait,
Wow.
which city?
Mobile.
Is it spelled like mobile, like with an E, or
Mobile.
MOBIE.
okay?
MOBIE.
Oh,
The
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
and then Alaska, Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
it's not okay.
Personally, okay.
Interesting.
So that's my thought, right? I agree
Yeah.
with you, Joash, at least in part, because prohibition. We know what happened with prohibition.
Yeah.
That we can't have that happen with guns. That would be so much worse.
And
But-
yeah, that only invites that invites
A
cartels.
black
Yeah,
market.
but the thing,
Yeah.
so I think is
Exactly.
you can't.
Yeah.
I think making a blanket ban of guns or some kind of gun would be irresponsible. I think what needs to happen is kind of it just needs to be regulated, and we need buybacks. I think buybacks could actually work
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Americans won't give up their guns, but they'll do it for money.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's a very possible idea within the current
I mean, maybe
You
in the
know.
future.
Yeah, like
function of the United States. I think even the politicians are too scared to run on it.
yeah, like I agree with what Neville said about Americans being very concerned about like safety in schools and stuff, but I don't think they're gonna like I don't think they're gonna stand for like completely getting rid of guns. It might like I think there's more support for like
Yeah, so let me talk about something Trump did during his presidency, right? So one gun policy he did is during his administration, he expanded the interpretation of the word fugitives. Well, like fugitives are prevented from buying guns, but his expansion of it allowed certain fugitives to get guns. So that's one thing he did. Well, like he expanded by using regulations, he widened firearm access. I don't think that would be a policy that's like very sympathetic towards appealing to voters.
when they say fugitives, is it like referring to
Fugitives from justice
oh
who are
okay.
prevented from buying guns.
Hmm.
That he like he
Yeah.
changed the regulations on that as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be supported that much.
Yeah, but
So
while Biden he signed the first major gun safety legislation in 30 years, I think, and then he he signed like multiple executive orders after like each of the school shootings that we had seen. Yeah, so I think gun policy definitely goes to more leaning towards
Yeah.
Biden.
Again, it would go to Biden if anybody knew what he actually did. But
Yeah, they don't campaign
yeah,
that.
and like like you look at all of his campaign ads, the only thing this guy is talking about is abortion. Like at least from what I've seen
Yeah.
from a lot of Biden stuff, it's just like abortion. It's the only thing he's capitalizing off of,
And
which
I
is
don't even think he does a good job at that.
yeah,
It's that, and this guy's a convicted felon. Those are the
yeah.
two ploys that
Oh,
they have.
no, I've also seen like some ones where he'll like randomly he'll, like talk and like this like it'll be like super scripted, like it looks very fake, and he'll like talk like this whatever
Yeah,
person,
no,
usually someone.
you can see his eyes
Yeah,
moving to the side to look at the
yeah.
word. Like it's pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
like he's doing a really bad job at capitalizing off of anything that he's done. Like if anything, Kamala Harris
Especially
has done
with the
better.
felony aspect.
Yeah. Like if anything, I think Kamala Harris actually I think she's done a better job on like talking about like women's rights stuff and appealing to female voters more. So actually,
Yeah.
I mean, presuming
Hillary did
Biden
a better
does,
job.
yeah, actually, yeah, Hillary did. But I think with Hillary, I think it was just solely because she was a woman, whereas like Kamala Harris actually is like
A
genuinely, I
woman.
think pro. Yeah, she is genuinely pro women's rights, whereas Clinton's really just she was just a woman. That's it.
Yeah, Hillary
Like she didn't
was
really
not
stand
a
for like
person.
feminism or anything.
Hillary was
You
not
know,
even like. You can
yeah, and another major issue on the like that I've seen growing that voters actually value, which is surprising to me. I don't know why, but cannabis, drugs, right? Drug policy.
Yeah.
People are very interested about that. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
Would
I think
I
it's
mean, you saw
interesting
what
'cause-
happened in Toronto, right? Like you can see
yeah.
what's happening in Canada. It's not good at all.
Literally
There
look at
should
like
no be open drug policies are horrible.
yeah,
Like
look at like they
Well,
look
I
at like
think it's
Portland and
interesting
stuff.
because
Like yeah,
Biden said he would legalize marijuana and then he didn't.
So
yeah. I
Biden,
think for me, I'm kind of mixed on the issue. I think it really depends on the drug for me. Like marijuana, I'm okay with legalizing, but I think like most drugs I would not be for. I don't think I'm
okay,
for that.
look, I used to be in the same position. I got convinced by a different friend about the basically drug decriminalization when it's paired with like good
Rehab.
rehabilitation measures,
yes,
which is the
yes,
most important thing. If
yes,
you have
yes.
those rehabilitation things that are like heavily funded, you can like if you look in Portugal, they like completely cut drug rates like really really hard. They destroyed their drug related crime rates and everything within like 20 years of decriminalizing drugs. And I think
Yeah,
Yeah, but Portugal's like
I
about
agree with you on that. It's like not really the object in question itself. Like it's not exactly the gun, it's not exactly the drug. It's more or less the social service which is provided to the people that are using those things, right? Like there's
Which is why rehab's so important.
Yeah,
And Abhishek
there's
meant,
very
yeah.
little mental health reach out for those. I mean, the most common aspect about everyone that has committed any sort of school shooting in the past few years is severe depression and mental health problems, like off the hook type thing, right? And it's not really the gun. It's
Yeah.
more or less what
That's
led
why
them
it's
to do what they
important
did.
to decriminalize things so that you make sure that these people go to rehab and stuff and end up in prison
Yeah.
after drug abuse. Is
And
the point.
and I do think that's also another win for Biden, even if he's not campaigning on it. I think the
I
Democratic
wouldn't,
Party is more for the rehab and stuff.
I wouldn't really say it's a win. I don't.
A win in terms
Well,
of the Democratic Party is more for rehab and mental health policies than the Republican.
Problem is
yeah.
they haven't done anything tangible. I mean, yeah, the Republicans refuse to fund public services, but um, the Democrats haven't done anything tangible about it. Kind of hard to campaign on empty promises.
Wait, they haven't done anything for like, I mean, this is a different topic, but like I know for like trans mental health, they've done Biden's like issued like plenty
There
of
was
checks.
a
I know, but that's only because like it looks better for his PR if he like helps like.
Because it aligns
there,
with his
there was a
his, his
plan to
supporters.
Yeah.
include trans people in one of the in the quote the I don't remember exactly, but there was one regarding trans people.
Yeah.
Being included in the no discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, but that got blocked.
There's a lot of
by the court.
investment too. Like I think Biden put 46.8 million in behavioral health funding opportunities to advance during May mental health. So I think that's
Wait.
enough.
So
Oh, we got
someone
a
joined.
visitor, a
Oh.
Keelan.
Wait,
Is my audio?
Yeah, yeah, it is good.
Yeah. Wait.
Let me close the stream.
By the way, fact check again, guys. I was wrong earlier.
About
Highest
what?
crime rate is in Memphis, Tennessee.
Ah.
Oh.
Okay. All right. That's the okay.
Oh wait, I just moved, so it's gonna be
Okay, that's really funny timing because I kind of have to go.
Huh.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
So
so
I'll
I'm
be
just checking
Shay.
if I can say
No.
You gotta introduce yourself.
You gotta introduce yourself and your beliefs a little.
My boy.
Keelan.
Okay. So I'm a Hewlin. I don't like labels, but if you want describe one to me, go like libertarian socialist, right?
Based.
Yeah. I think that ideally workers should have control of the capital that they work with, in order
Wait, can you
to like
repeat that again?
more
Your voice
power
kinda
in
cut
the
out.
workplace.
Let me turn up
Wait,
your
what's
audio.
Dude, Akilan's so
turn that
cool.
one right
Cool guy. You make me want to be
He's
a
the best
socialist.
guy here.
Hold
I
up.
I want to
love
be.
you,
I want to be a
Akilan.
socialist now because of him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do that. Oh yeah. Workers should have more power in the workplace because democracy should be extended to all facets of life. But I will like compromise my value. It's if you have like similar music taste as me, which is why Greg Gutfeld is the best political anchor.
That's a 100
That's true.
gags.
It's like the best
Yeah.
intro ever, dude. Holy shit, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're putting us to
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah. So right now we're just on the topic of like we're going through like Biden and Trump issues where they may win amongst the voters. So we're on cannabis,
I'm
I
just
believe,
gonna
right now.
mute
Yeah,
myself.
and I
I'll
think
be
it's
right
it was
back.
drugs. We were
Okay.
talking about like
Hopefully.
no, we were talking about drugs and I think like mental health outreach.
Yeah, yeah,
I think someone mentioned trans. Like,
yeah. Mimi.
yeah,
I do think Biden does more for mental health and
yeah,
rehab stuff than Trump ever will. Because I mean, simply because conservatives prefer a smaller government where they don't spend that much and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought it was always kind of interesting. Conservatives always, like after Uvalde, people were always talking about, they were always going on about mental health services. That's the important issue.
And they
But
don't
the
do anything.
Republican
I
Party
mean,
is very against
I
public
think it's
funding for these
because
things.
like the general conservative consensus is that mental health can be solved with stuff that's like more traditional like community, religion,
Oh,
just
that's
like doing
true.
fun
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah. That's
whereas
a good
opposed to
count,
like
though.
as opposed to like medical stuff, right? And like
Yeah.
whatnot, which is like more so something that the Democrats and like people on the left tend to like see as the ideal way to deal with mental health issues.
Yeah, but definitely, I think what we learned from that is the Republicans don't really have a solution
Uh,
to gun
uh,
violence that they're willing to act on.
I mean, I feel like okay, just to like say what they would say. I feel like they would say things like, two-parent households, or like a strong family unit, nuclear family, or like something
Yeah.
like trauma religion and or dying religion is like pretty bad. Like having those things.
Yeah, no. Aside from if you're putting religion aside, the whole family unit idea, right? Statistically, it is. I mean, it's correct. If you see
Oh
what's happened
yeah.
since,
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
especially
that
since the civil rights movement, everything has changed, especially in African American families.
yeah, now I agree.
Oh
I
wait,
wouldn't
what
say
do you
it's
mean by
directly
Yeah,
that?
what-
because I
Elaborate?
wouldn't say it's directly. Definitely, I
Elaborate
think
on that one, man.
it's you could definitely blame it as like you could say it's a partial cause, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
sole.
it's an entirely like it's the entire reason behind that. But
No,
Yeah.
I'm not following. Like, how did the civil rights movement lead to like decline of the
PragerU.
family unit?
PragerU.
I'm not saying that it.
Like,
I'm not saying that it led to it. I'm saying that it had like it
Oh,
occurred
that's a
around that
You,
same
political
time.
in what way? In what
conspiracy
way?
what
and
kind of
feel
effect? What kind of
comfortable
effect?
sharing yesterday.
Or are you talking about like birth control and stuff? Like
No, I
access
think
to
I
more.
think he might be referring to how like are you gonna you can explain Joash if you want if like
If you,
Well, I mean,
I can see how
there.
the
I mean,
sexual revolution does, but
I don't know if
yeah,
the
no,
sexual
that makes more
revolution.
sense. But like, I don't know, but I'm not saying that the civil rights movement had a direct hand in it itself. It occurred during the same time. Like it was around the late '60s, early
okay,
'70s,
okay, so
where
like that. Yeah.
yeah, like where black households became predominantly, you know, we all know.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, we're talking about the 80s. That's Ronald Reagan's fault.
No, not the 80s,
Not
70s,
80s, late
60s.
60s, late 60s, early 70s.
I think that's
I
less
don't.
due to the civil rights movement,
Wait,
but
late
more just a
60s? I don't
that's just a
track
general like
that.
progressive trend that was happening in the '60s. I don't
Yeah.
think that the civil rights
Yeah,
movement
I don't think that,
necessarily
and like I
involved.
don't think you can regulate that just to like
I
black.
do think
The
Josh
big
is
issue that popped up within primarily black communities started in the 1980s when Ronald Reagan decided to be very kind
I
and
think
give out free
I
drugs.
think Josh may just be referring to the big changes in family units we see in the 50s. So it's a baby boom. We in
Yeah.
60s, women had
No,
more
I'm
rights.
just wondering
Wha-
why he's like specifically
Yeah, there
talking
was
about black families,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I'm talking
The,
about the 1980s, because that's like the event that I see that would have had a major effect on
could you
only black
explain
No,
families.
if you're
like
talking about
why?
like American general, I see the '60s. But if we're talking about
Yeah.
like black
Yeah,
families specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
but I
think
think
the
like
80s
the
is Ronald
80s and
Reagan.
90s I think is yeah.
That's why I'm confused.
But wait, could you actually wait whoever is advocating for like it like this thing starting in the 80s, could they quickly explain like
no,
explain it more in detail or like
Well,
aside
specifically
from
for
like
black Americans,
yeah.
that's just because Ronald Reagan did a lot of bad things regarding welfare, and also he
Mm.
spread crack cocaine into black communities.
talking
Wait, what's
about
cannabis?
talking about
Yeah.
cannabis, actually, in terms of drug policy, it's interesting. Did you know that during Trump's presidency, he legalized hemp and CBD?
Oh,
Yeah.
Insane.
A part of the 2018 Farm Bill, the Trump administration legalized low THC hemp products, and he effectively legalized CBD or cannabis
Dude,
in all 50 states.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's crazy.
honestly, yeah, weed is not like a very
Yeah.
partisan
Like weed
issue.
is it's not really a gateway
Like
drug, you
Democrats are
know?
more like in favor of legalizing it, but it's not something that the national stage really focuses.
Yeah. Weed's only
Yeah,
a
it's
Yeah.
big
like a
thing
little
because of the fact
bonus
that it's so
point.
And
prominent.
then
Right,
for Biden, he pardoned every single marijuana possession charge.
I do
So
think it's kind of a negative for Biden that he kept talking about he was gonna legalize it and he never did.
that's true. That's true.
He said it was
Yeah.
like a day
Yeah.
one thing too. It's like,
yeah.
No, didn't they even like oust a bunch of weed users in the cabinet or like the White House in general?
Are you
it's
joking?
it's weird. It's
Yeah, I'm
like
pretty sure they did.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Inconsistency.
that
Uh-oh.
was like a bonus point for Biden right there. Like there was the thing he was winning on, and then he kind of fumbled that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 staffers were let go over marijuana use.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big fumble from Biden in that one.
But I don't know how much of an impact that has on the election thing. Just because.
Oh yeah. This is like a much more minor one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a minor one, but it
Wait, I
used to be a
mean,
point that he was winning on. But I think people probably don't trust him about that anymore.
yeah.
Did we
Yeah.
talk about abortion yet?
Yeah,
Yes, we
we
did.
did. Oh, we
Okay.
haven't
Um,
talked about Oh,
ta- yeah, talking about crime, actually, I know like Republicans are like very what's it proud about Trump's crime record. Josh, do you want to talk about like who do you think has it better on crime amongst the voters, like in terms of like like
Uh,
lowering crime rates? Yeah, go.
well, I think that that's more to Trump, and not only is it just Trump, but it's mostly the Republican Party because like we see that in New York City, right? When Rudy Giuliani became the mayor of New York City, all the organized crime it like straight up disappeared, right? You had all the Italian mafia, they were gone. So the crackdown on crime is predominantly more to the right than it is to the left, which is why I see most voters going to Donald Trump when it comes to crime because he also made the emphasis on illegal migrants committing a lot of the crimes once they entered the nation, right? Because there were a lot of, I mean, I think you guys have seen the State of the Union address, right? You saw the lady that was sitting there, remember? With
Yeah,
the
yeah,
with the
yeah,
red MAGA hat. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there
Impeachment.
are a decent amount of crimes that were committed by illegal migrants, and Trump is the only one aside from Biden that's addressing the crime rates, which is why I think people will lean
yeah.
towards him for crime.
Yeah, because conservatives are more into like law and order type stuff, right? Because the
Yeah.
thing is, even though Democrats do prioritize rehab and stuff a lot of them, I mean, at least the very moderate elements, from what I've seen at least, like Biden, for example, don't really do, I think, as much as might be needed to actually deal with these issues. And so people would and so people just perceive it as like, the strategy is bad, and then they end up becoming really into like, giving police power and stuff, which, just feeds Trump and other like conservative politicians.
What do you guys think, Sam?
Um, sorry, I wasn't really paying attention,
Okay,
but
it's fine. It's fine.
from what I did hear, um, in regards to in regards to crime in general, I guess I'm just gonna go off in general.
Yeah.
It is an interesting way of thinking. A lot of people tend to think democratic states do a lot worse on crime. But if we do look at the highest crime rates in the country, a lot of these states are actually Republican states. There's a perception in the public Democrats are really bad on crime. Democrat cities are overrun with criminals. In reality, I think out of the top 5 states, 3 of them are Republican. So that's my contribution, I guess. People
Yeah, and
people
another
don't like
thing
the
I want to
Democrats.
add
They think they
is
that they're
that like
more.
urban centers are going to be more crime ridden. Those are typically also more
Yeah,
Democrat. I
Yeah,
don't think like
it's inevitable.
conflating a party and like geographic location, things like that,
and
as
I think that's
factors.
actually also really impressive because there's not out of the major urban areas in the United States, none of them are in the top 10.
Honestly, kind of
So,
does. Okay.
yeah, so let me add on to this. Let me first talk about the
Well, we're talking about
positives.
crime rates, so that's also
Yeah,
kind of mitigated there. So
let me talk about the positives of Biden on crime. From my understanding, hold up, as you can see in the screen, right now, violent crimes at a near 50 or low, according to this is from 2022 though, but it is 50 or low according to FBI.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a good thing. But and then for actual policy so far, from what I've seen, Biden has increased the number of police officers. He's hired them. I think that was more of at 2020. We're like coming after the large like George Floyd stuff, the BLM movement. So we had
And
Biden
also
hire
like
more police
crimes during
officers.
COVID as well, right? People like
Yeah,
vandalizing
and
stuff and
then
breaking into stores.
yeah, then we had a reform policing policy from Biden. So those are like the positives for Biden. Now, in terms of actual crime policy, I do think Trump had like he did more legislative actions to do stuff. So from my understanding, he what's it? He eh, okay, he dispatched federal law enforcement to help local cops, right, to find violent criminals. He increased fines on robocalls. He signed the First Step Act, which is like a very criminal justice reform legislation. So I actually do think, and then also like Republicans are very big on like campaigning the idea that like, hey, oh, Biden's increasing crime, blah blah blah, and like Republicans are good for crime. I do think amongst voters, people would look at Republicans as like a better party in terms of like criminal policy. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
Yeah, for
it's just
sure.
more,
But
especially since. Sorry.
you go, you go.
Okay, yeah, I think especially since like a lot of the people who are also like really anti-crime and like pro-police and stuff just tend to naturally just lean conservative, right? And so they're automatically
Yeah.
just they're gonna go with the party that shares the majority of their views, and obviously that party is gonna they're gonna act like they're very pro-police and they're cracking down on crime and whatnot, and so yeah, and that just leads to a better public perception of like, the Republican Party in terms of like dealing with crime and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam, you go. You say what you wanted to say, and then I want to add something.
Okay.
Well, it's like what Neville was talking about. Yeah, there's that perception, but even the Democratic Party is pretty tough on crime. Has a pretty tough on crime attitude. If we look
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
both
increase in
parties do.
Yeah.
police,
Yeah.
which is why
And
it is
okay,
interesting.
even if you look at this graph here, right? Crime has been roughly the same, hovering around that like, what is that, four? Okay,
Yeah, around or a little under 400.
yeah, around that like 400 mark for a while now. Crime is not that big of an issue in America, but
Yeah.
it's like Republican fear mongering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
there's
are
just a
Pointing
small
protests,
bump up
so-
during the pandemic, and
No, but
it's now
yeah, the
starting
only
to down.
yeah, the only
No, but
crime
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think the only real like
What's up?
area of crime that I think Republicans can really like where what they're talking about has any level of validity is like crime from like migrants, but even so, I don't really know if it's as high as what they're
I
saying
mean,
it
I'm
is.
pretty sure crime from migrants, like migrants commit crime at like
lower
Lower-
rates.
lower
Yeah,
rate
yeah.
proportionate to their population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's inevitable, I think, just with like any group that comes to the country for work, I think is just like or primarily for work, is just naturally going to like be less full of criminals, less than have less criminals
Yeah,
than
because
say
they're
a group
like
that's
they don't want to risk
yeah,
anything, especially
yeah.
if they're like illegal.
Yeah, it's
So
more likely to see like crime in like groups that are living in like urban slums and stuff.
yeah,
With what Keelan said about Republicans fear mongering, I do think they've done a good job at that though. Like vote
yeah,
I
for
see.
sure. So it's definitely gonna affect voters.
Yeah, so like I think crime is like a benefit towards like the Republican Party in terms of, like because they're so harsh about it and like strict, they're like, I'm gonna crack down on every single case. I'm gonna arrest 50 million people minimum, all these people committing crimes, I'm gonna send them to jail. Like this is like something that like voters are
Honestly-
like, hell yeah, I wanna send these people to prison.
Honestly, that's one aspect where Kamala might have has. She
Oh,
might
the
have
marijuana?
Like a,
Oh yeah, dude, yeah,
like an
she's gonna
advantage
like
just
yeah,
because-
dude.
Yeah, Attorney General of California or whatever.
Yeah.
If she could fight back on that.
she
if she
she could have that perception of being a tough on law and order thing.
I mean,
But honestly, I still don't know. I feel like the most impactful things on the election are it's probably not law and order. I think even
yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Now-
I mean, border
Yeah.
law and order maybe, but like I think like general law and order isn't gonna do, like unless it's really only like border specific stuff. That's like
Yeah.
people really care about like the crime going on there.
The
Talking about
Democrats are in this like weird middle ground where they're like they're tough on crime, but they're also the alternative to like the
Well,
Republican tough on crime.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're kind of alienating both sides.
Uniparty,
in that
the
respect.
uniparty,
Yeah, we need
or
to-
the same
Like,
party.
we need a pro
Biden
crime
has
party.
done major investments into mental health institutions and like
Yeah.
mental health
that
research.
I mean, like, sure, but I don't think people are gonna see that
See that?
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it
'Cause-
is
'cause
kind of a
he's-
tenuous connection. You can't like directly say that is gonna have a huge impact on reducing crime.
Yeah. Now, Josh is muted right now, but on the topic of
Oh shoot, I was muted. I didn't realize I was muted. I was talking.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Nice.
Oh wait, were you
Nice
like wondering
one,
why we were
nice one.
talking over
do you
you
want to
and
quickly
stuff?
say what you were gonna say?
Yeah,
and
no,
then
I
we'll-
was like, there's no way Akeelan's talking. No, no. So what I was gonna say is that you were talking about the tough on crime aspect of the Republican Party, right, and conservatives. So they don't just point to themselves as being tough on crime, but from what I've seen is that being a conservative, they're also pointing to foreign examples. Like you have President Bukele in El Salvador, right? You saw what he did. He built the supermax prison and all of that, and he got rid of all of it. Like it's
Didn't he
one of the
imprison-
safest South American countries at this
Wait,
point.
didn't he imprison
Okay,
like,
okay.
like 2%
They're
of his
really
population?
leaning on that as a what?
Didn't he imprison like 2% of his population? Like,
Yeah,
insane.
Ecuador is kind of horrible.
No, so basically what they
the
so
reason
basically
why
what they did
there's
is
so
they got
they're-
rid of like individual rights temporarily and the police were allowed to arrest basically anyone they suspected of being part of any sort of cartel or organized crime. Yeah, that's what they did, and it worked.
I don't.
I mean,
I
it
don't think
reduces
you
completely
crime,
realize
but
that
like
it
They're
worked.
completely
at
separate
that
like areas
cost
though.
personal
Wait,
liberty
one
is
at a time.
crazy.
You
One
don't
at a
think
time. One at a time. Go, Keelan. Go.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, sure, that reduces crime, but that's like Injustice Superman type logic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
I'm not
kill,
saying
I
it
love
was necessarily
Injustice.
good. I'm saying like it worked in El Salvador. I don't think that would work here.
Akilin. I don't mean to like
I mean,
change the
okay, so
topic too
I
what's
much.
your
don't think you
point
realize
then?
how like fucked up El Salvador is.
Wait,
Like, there's a
what's
reason
that?
why
Yeah, so
there's so
Josh, what's
many
your point?
No,
immigrants.
I'm just trying to say that the Republicans are really banking on that. Like a lot of conservative um the YouTubers and others that are on the
Capitals.
media, they're using that as an example, as a crackdown on crime, and then
That's
comparing
a
that to
horrible
Biden.
example.
I would
Okay,
say
yeah, I
though. I
mean
think
that's fair.
I'm
They
one
are
sec.
doing that.
Oh, Akilin, wait, I
Okay.
don't want to like change the topic too much, but you have which Injustice game have you played? Because you mentioned
I've
Injustice
never
Superman.
played an Injustice
What?
game.
I've played both.
I have the second one in my house right now. I love it.
Wait, Gods Among Us?
Yeah,
Gods
dude,
Among Us.
I love Injustice, bro. I love that
Wait,
game.
Among Us?
Among Us?
Not all.
I was
Isn't
gonna
it
transition.
That's
Okay,
When we were talking about crime, I was gonna transition into immigration. Now,
Wait. Can I say
oh
one
uh,
quick thing
okay,
about crime?
quick.
All right. This isn't gonna be too long. All I was gonna say was just that like the situations I think in El Salvador and the United States are I think are way too different. Like I think the
Yeah,
kind of
that's what I'm
crime
saying.
there,
It doesn't
the
apply.
society
Yeah,
is
El
so
Salvador is
different that
tiny.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really think it can be used as a good example to prove I think conservative like viewpoints on crime and stuff are good when it's just a very different climate.
But also,
I would
that's
say
what.
go yeah, like I don't think it can really
Literally.
just like we can't use those same policies in here because they just wouldn't
Yeah,
work.
no,
And
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that they're using it as an example, yet that kind of practice cannot be applied in an
yeah,
environment such as the
But
U.S.
that's also
yeah.
the kind of thing that happens when you only look at the outcome of something and not everything in between.
yeah,
Because what
yeah,
happened
like a
in El
process of that
Salvador
unfolding.
So like,
is a very bad, very fascist thing.
technically, I can like end poverty if I just, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Kill
kill all the
all
Oh
poor
the
no,
people.
that's
kill
like
No, if you
using
kill the poor
aid.
You
people, then the
kid,
new poor
No,
people will
what?
come.
let
That's
me
Then
end
essentially what
poverty.
happened in El
no,
Salvador.
but if you kill
Never
all the
realized
poor
what he was
people,
gonna
then
say.
just more poor people will like come to replace them. Then like the middle class will become the lower class, and then like, and it's like so you can't really kill poverty the same way. I
Oh,
mean,
Okay,
you
fine.
can
I'll kill
I'll destroy
poverty by
heavy.
making the poverty line 0.
I pledge to
Okay.
cut all people.
based.
I pledge to cut all poor
Guys, I think
people.
Aquilin is. I think Aquilin is the only person like ever that is like he's the only one that's capable of just like getting rid of poverty. Like it's
Honestly,
just
no,
Actually,
just
dude.
cut, just
Dude,
cut him.
actually,
Yeah,
He's the
yeah,
only
yeah.
person ever.
dude.
He's the only.
I am the
I think
only
that's
person
what.
ever, yeah.
Wait, let me check something real quick.
What's up? On what? Okay. So I was gonna
Okay, I think we can move on from Law and Order.
Yeah.
yeah. But this is
Going back to something Aquilin did say. Yeah, I am conservative, but like I still do agree with something that he did say, which was the right of the worker. Um, I am pro business, but I'm not pro
anti-vocal. You're not.
Power for the
totalitarian
unions.
control. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Power to the
I
unions.
do think unions are I know that unions are pretty valuable. They're necessary.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
in
a
a
cool.
broader economic sense, that's a really interesting thing to look at. Where considering like the disparity in our political views. So,
Okay, yeah, we can talk about that. The broader economy, if that's a win for Trump or Biden. What do you
I
guys
think
think?
I'm gonna say that
Public consensus.
that is an anti-incumbent thing more than anything else.
Yeah.
That's
And I think
my take.
also, and the common consensus in general is like Trump's economy was better just because his PR just capitalized off of that like really well.
And
Like he made that like a
technically, Trump's economy was bad. Like the 2016 to 2020 period was better than the 2020 to 2024 period. But that's because we have the post-COVID economy for Biden, while we're comparing a pre-COVID economy for Trump.
And we got through
Yeah, if we're
the
looking at how
COVID
good the
recession like pretty well, like compared to the rest. Of the
Yeah.
yeah, if we're looking at the recovery for the economy, it's been kind of amazing. It's been
Amazing,
pretty
yeah.
great.
And I want to
Yeah,
address one thing, which is I see this so often in every single Republican or conservative thing talking about the economy, where they're like when people talk about inflation, right? Because that's kind of the big issue people have with Biden, right? it's high inflation. But in economics, there's like a concept that applies in like most situations where inflation and unemployment follow, I think, an inverse relationship. So if you have a lot less inflation, you have a lot more unemployment. That's what happened at the beginning of COVID, where there's like a 15% unemployment rate and like a 1% inflation rate. Biden's policies stopped that unemployment. They created all of those jobs back and they lowered the unemployment rate. And in doing so, they increased the inflation rate, which is why inflation's high. And even that they're mitigating, which is incredible. I think it's obviously not, fun for the the average consumer to deal with inflation. But at least they have a job. The alternative is high unemployment, low inflation.
You're muted, by the way, Josh. So wait, yeah. For me though, with inflation, right? I know there's an inverse relationship, but in my opinion, the sole reason for the inflation was just the fact that we completely shut down our supply chain by closing down our economy in 2020. So like by doing that, we still had some effects of that to this day.
I
Like,
think if
yeah.
we're talking about the real issues for consumers in terms of inflation, it's really just price gouging from the companies themselves. They've
On
been
the where you go.
responsible for prices rising so much, and that's what people are really angry about. So it's always interesting on the issue of the economy. I think people blame the government and inflation for all that, when in reality it's corporations trying to extract more profit after people are used to higher prices.
Hey,
This is why we need. This
Wait,
is
wait,
why
I
we
wanna
need a
clarify
revolution of the
something.
proletariat, a dictatorship of the
One sec.
proletariat.
So
People's
wait, are we
revolution.
talking about like the economy in general, or like how that's gonna impact voters?
Yeah, that.
What? The second one?
Both, like how the economy in
Okay.
general, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tying like the entire economy to a president is kind of crazy in my opinion, because
yeah,
there's
that's
so
true.
many other
The
factors.
problem is that's what happens.
Like,
we we
Yeah,
can control
yeah. When we're talking
this
about, but like when we're talking about voters, I don't think people are gonna. I think if you ask the average person, they're gonna say that like Biden had a
Trump.
worse economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But
And
if we do look at
it's.
history, I think Neville's told me this before too.
Mhm,
It's always the Republicans who inherit a good economy from the Democrats.
honestly,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
because it's part of like the natural, I think, like cycle of like American politics, whatever, is that usually when the Republicans are in power, they usually just tend to be in power like in pretty stable times. Like look at like the 80s or 90s. Like I think they were a lot more like economically and socially stable than the 60s and 70s when the Democrats had power. And I think we're kind of seeing a somewhat similar thing now, where like people, there'll always be people who will think the Republicans are better economically because of the fact that they just tend to show up. Like they tend
And
to
then
get
when
into power
things
during
fall
times of
apart, like
stability.
Herbert
Yeah,
Hoover or like
then the
what
Democrats
George
become like,
Bush,
yeah,
we'd go back to Democrats, and then like
yeah.
it gets better, and then we're like, let's
Yeah.
conservatives,
Yeah, because like
Republicans.
because when we're doing good, we want
Republicans.
stability, which is usually what the Republicans give. Whereas when we're wanting like, whereas when it's all like shit, people tend to gravitate towards the Democrats because
Yeah,
they've worked to
disciple.
it's because yeah.
yeah, like like I think Abhishek started with this, but there's a discrepancy between how the economy actually is and how voters see the economy, and that's such a bad, especially with how bad Biden's campaign has been failing to like emphasize the things they've done. It's like that's such a negative thing for them.
And that's
Them-
why I bring up the price gouging issue too. That's definitely the main reason that voters feel so weird about the current economy.
I
The
actually
prices are noticeably higher, even though
I,
the economy is doing well.
I have a funny comment on that. I just saw like I think it was 2 years ago, but Biden actually he implemented a policy where if companies did like raise the prices to like not the inflation rate, whatever, he would fine them. He actually had a policy like that, but no one ever hears about it because the Biden campaign is never going to advertise that type of stuff. Like it's so
I
it's
mean,
the
even if
Democrats.
they do, like, I don't think that's gonna change public perception much.
If the public knew,
Like,
like I'm screen sharing right now, that the inflation rates literally we had deflation in May. We had literal deflation in May. We like it's like inflation rates like people think right now inflation's at 20% probably if they're like voting for Trump. Like
Honestly,
we don't.
I
yeah,
want to do
yeah,
that.
you're right.
Wait, yeah,
The
Yash, you
Democratic.
should do that for AP research. You should just ask people what they think the inflation rate is.
I'm
That's
going
just
to
how it is.
Texas
Is this
this
actually?
August.
can't.
So I can-
If Bigos had known that, then he maybe wouldn't have made such a silly tweet.
that's true. That's true.
Oh no.
Wait,
Wait,
non-
Let me
Bigos.
zoom out.
Wait,
a
guys,
bit.
I don't
Bro,
wanna,
we
like-
can't
For
upload
context.
this.
no, we can upload it. No, just cut that out. Just like cut that specific
Okay.
part.
Mr.
Yeah.
Bigos from
No, I'm
Monroe
not
Yeah.
cutting it out.
Township.
I'm not
Okay.
cutting it out.
Okay.
Right, wait,
Okay.
guys, yeah.
Back. We're back. We didn't cut anything. Like I was saying, yeah, I feel like there's just such a people don't know that like the economy has gotten better in certain ways, and it's like it's sad to see like this not be transparent to voters.
Wait,
No.
Oh wait, are we gonna? I don't mean to like be like not like rude or anything, but like, should we like switch to like something else? Like I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long have we been talking about the economy? Because like I don't want to
Yeah,
like.
we can move on.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
we
we
can
if we
switch.
still have something, if we still want to say something, I mean, we should. But like, I'm saying like don't
We're good.
don't have
Yeah,
like,
we
the whole,
haven't
like,
let Josh. What do you think about the economy?
I think that the average American isn't focusing on the actual inflation rate, more or less, like for its face front value, as in like, okay, so this was more expensive than it was X amount of years ago, right? Because you have the situation in California, which is like at this point, California might as well be their own country. I'm not gonna lie, but there was one video that was surfacing online about how an apple in San Francisco costs around $7. So it's more or less that people are taking it as a face front value than looking at inflation rates from an economic standpoint.
Yeah, but I think that's a
Yeah.
bad thing. But you are right. Like if people see like 2 months ago the talkie was like $5, and then now it's like this much. It's like that's like those little things are the things that like impact voters' perception.
Yeah.
But I think
It
what
is
Sam was
mostly the
saying
little
more
things,
applies here,
especially the
to,
cost
like,
of gasoline.
yeah.
price gouging and like the practice of companies
Yeah,
is what's the
it's
issue here. Like
it's price gouging.
economic
The
anxiety. is
economy's doing
increasing.
fine.
Yeah. Like economic anxiety is going crazy. It's like
Oh, yeah, and
wages
then
are not rising at pace with inflation, things like that. People aren't like given that guarantee of security and stability that was like previously at least thought to be available, even if
Yeah.
it wasn't
it's
true.
yeah,
Wait,
And-
guys.
yeah.
Oh no, I was saying like, I don't know when we should switch because like we have an okay. We have like a
I'll
little bit.
switch. Don't worry. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
no,
We have
I'm
time.
saying like, no. I was just
You
asking.
don't have to keep bringing it
No,
up.
after
Okay,
we
we're
switch from after we
Did
change
we
the
talk
topic,
about like
do you want?
each
do
of
you
their
wanna go to-
capabilities?
Guys, I actually
as,
have
like,
to leave. I
a
told
human?
Neville earlier. I have
Yeah,
to, I
yeah.
have to pack right now.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's fine.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, bye.
Wait,
Okay.
Right.
bye.
See you, man.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Wait, Abhishek, you haven't left. Aren't you supposed to leave too?
No, I checked. I had some time.
You're.
That's
Okay.
gonna be okay.
We
Well, I'm
could.
jealous now.
Okay.
Oh man,
Now-
dude, I don't wanna. Oh shit, dude. I was gonna change to like topics that like I thought like he would have some good input on, but like now, crap.
Which
dude.
topic?
Dude,
I
I'm
was
glad
thinking
we
about- I was
I
thinking
wanted
about
to do
either-
it. It's fine. I was going to
I
do
wanted
immigration
something-
before, but
Yeah, I was thinking about doing either borders or like minority issues, like aside from women stuff, but like racial
Ye-
minority issues.
it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
Whatever.
We did social issues and
Yeah, kind of.
that
Yeah, I think.
counts.
Did we talk about Israel?
We
A
talked
little
about
bit.
foreign policy generally.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
haven't talked yet about what is it? Climate change.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
a big thing.
Does Josh
Mm,
believe
yeah.
in climate
Yeah,
change?
he does. He
You
does.
could
he
give
does.
that to Biden,
Yeah,
but
I
like,
think-
Yeah.
then again,
He's-
I don't think people voting for Trump really care.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that about most
Like,
things.
no, that's the thing. Like, we can focus on all these issues, but at the end of the day, like, Democrats care about the things that Biden's doing. Republicans care about what Trump's doing. Like, there isn't that like middle ground anymore. American
Honestly,
politics
I
are so
disagree.
polarized.
I disagree. They
Polarization.
also care
So,
about
wait.
things.
Yeah. I
Wait,
do
what's
think
up?
more people are caring about climate change specifically.
Yeah.
Like, this is a
I think
giant-
we're gonna see more and more people. I think Republicans are gonna eventually adopt like climate change stuff.
I mean, they
But
kind
they're
of are
looking at
because like
it,
I don't know if you guys remember, but in like the
Mhm.
big like Republican debate a while back, right? I remember when they asked the question like, do you all believe in climate change? And like literally it was like universal, like it was all of them. It was like Chris Christie, Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, like everyone I think I remember was like they thought it was a
Yeah.
real thing. So like I think we've kind of
Wait, Vivek said it
we've
too?
moved past. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he has said some like weird ass conspiracy theories about it, but I think he overall like
I
believes
thought
it at
Vivek
least
said he
exists.
didn't believe in it.
Oh, no, I think
I mean,
he
it
like
doesn't matter what
he
they
said
believe
some-
or don't believe. It's what they like advocate that matters at
yes.
that stage.
Oh,
I just
but
think it's
I
interesting if
just
you like reverse this position.
uh-oh.
But I think we are like moving. Like I think the Republican Party is moving. I think moving towards like a change in the terms of the whole like climate
Alright.
thing. Like I feel like now they. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's the Discord window isn't being captured. I just realized, but it's okay.
Oh,
Nice.
But there
Oh
we go.
no.
I magically fixed it. All right, trust.
wait,
Alright.
was it like momentarily not like?
Yeah. Yeah. Momentarily.
Wait,
Okay.
yeah. If you were recording, what happened when you left?
No, I just muted. So it was whatever you guys
Okay.
said was still there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So like, I
you
I
go.
think it would be
Wait, wait,
political
I have
suicide
an
if the
idea for.
Republicans don't eventually adopt climate change policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially by the NASA's deadline of like 2050, I think for like unchangeable damage.
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna see in 2040 we're gonna see more pressure by we actually saw it in the debate itself. Like Trump wasn't like outright saying climate change is fake. He was saying like he made the claim that his presidency was better for gas emissions. So even he's like trying to appeal to
Yeah.
climate change.
Yeah.
Which I think we are trying to see that. I think a lot with we are seeing that a lot with the right. Like I think. Like I think I don't want to change the topic too much. We also are kind of seeing that with like race relations, sort of, because we're starting to see more minorities like
Mm-hmm.
shift to the right slightly, and I think like we are seeing like I think also with like healthcare and like whatnot, like we're also seeing them starting to be a little at least a little bit like pro that because like I remember when Nikki Haley was talking about like I think raising the age for uh like stuff, and then like Trump like capitalized was like no that's terrible, and he like yapped about how that wasn't good. So I think we are starting to see I think a like slight like leftward shift on the right. Like I think the only areas where they might remain like staunchly conservative is like stuff that goes against their like fundamental morals,
Well, that's
like
pretty
like
natural though.
LGBT stuff, and like something that, like really goes like or like abortion or right, which I guess
It's
is
pretty
natural.
natural though.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Because
As society moves left, everything has
yeah,
to move
yeah, because
left.
like the
The right
conservatives
moves
are
left.
yeah, because the conservatives are today the conservatives of today are really just slightly conservative versions of the progressives of the past, really.
Even as things become, you know, as even like extremely things that try to be extremely static, like religion, are moving more to the left.
Yeah,
Pope Francis keeps vibing out with the gay people.
yeah,
Are
and
you
that's
even
still
true.
like that?
yeah, and even
Eh,
with like you see like really religious like conservatives, they're adopting more of a stance of like they're becoming more like kind pastors or not pastor. Wait, the hell? That's not the right word.
Yeah,
Kind
there's
priests, kind priests rather than like crazy crusaders or something. Like they're not being less like I guess hate filled with whatever they're spouting.
female pastors are starting to be a thing,
yeah, I
which
do
is
think
interesting.
it's funny. I see conservatives talk about how the left has changed a lot to become more radical, but I think the right has been the one changing the
Yeah.
most.
Definitely.
So these yours.
No, I think it's the left has changed more. I think with their fundamental like moral theory like and stuff. But I think in terms of
I'm
like what they're actually advocating for, they've stayed pretty like constant and stuff.
sure, yeah.
I think because the left always has to. The left is always it's
Yeah.
progressive. It's always
Yeah, the left
moving.
is it has to change.
But
The
the right
horizons
wants
are
to
always
stay.
expanding.
But that's why when the right does change, it feels more monumental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because like conservatism is staying the same.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think changes in conservatism are usually like this isn't like really specific to America, just as a whole. Changes to conservatism are like they follow changes to liberals, as in it's kind of like
Reactionaries, you mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's that
Reactionaries. Yeah,
reactionary
they're the
thing.
ones who really oppose change.
But you gotta follow the voter base.
Yeah,
So as your voter
Yeah.
base moves more left,
yeah, because
it's
like
inevitable.
yeah, like because I think yeah, like 'cause, oh actually
you
never
got
mind. I was gonna say
you
something but it's irrelevant.
you gotta
Sorry.
imagine what can be, unburdened by what has been.
This guy, bro. Oh my god,
Is that an
Yeah,
dude.
Obama
Hey,
quote?
hey, dude, stop, bro.
no, it's Kamala Harris.
Dude,
Th-
exactly. Well,
I mean, there's a lot of cool facts that go on Biden's side. Like, let's say, on what I'm screen sharing right now, it seems that in 2023, energy production exceeds its consumption by record amounts, making America energy independent, not seen in 70 years. Yeah. Um, but like this is never going to be known to the public.
Yeah, like I don't really think anything that we say or anything that's being discussed in other political circles is really going to change anything about like the consensus about the election. Like
Just
we're not going to see like
Which is
People
why-
vote based on feelings. Like,
yeah.
It's
yeah.
like vibes.
Yeah, that's why people like AOC
Yeah.
is like really big. Like she her
That's why
policies
people
aren't
liked
really the
Obama.
best. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, no, Obama was like really centrist though. I don't think it would like he was
No,
like
but his perception of like being such a his
Oh.
speaking skills, his
Yeah.
charisma,
Yeah, man.
everything.
Biden. I mean, Obama he was beautiful, man. I loved him.
really.
I
Hate his
hate O-
policies. I
Isn't
love
he?
him,
Wasn't he
though.
like a?
I hate
Wasn't he like a?
Obama.
Wasn't he
I
like a
don't like his
staunch
policies.
capitalist?
I just love the guy. I
Guy.
love him.
All right, that's based. All right, I can. That
He's-
that is
he's
extremely
so
valid.
majestic, man.
Yeah, but
And
that
that
is
the
why.
man's majestic.
He
That'd be
wasn't
really crazy.
majestic when he Jones strike those kids. Okay.
Dude, it was.
It's okay.
He looked fantastic while doing it.
You know, you have to crack a few eggs, to make an omelet. You know.
Michelle, I pressed the red button. I killed some kids in South London. He's like,
Kudus
"Yeah, that's my
hospital.
bad. That's my
Yo.
bad.
What if
Some
what if the Democrats deploy Big Mike and like the last second, and then like Michelle Obama somehow like ends up getting
Oh
like a
my
bajillion
gosh.
votes, and like everyone supports her, and then we have like an insanely progressive presidency, and
So,
like
yeah.
what? And and they do
So,
like
see,
psyops and
alright,
stuff for like
This is kind of off topic-ish, but
I'm
speaking
going
of
insane.
Michelle Obama, right?
Yeah.
the whole I think I said this to a couple of people, but the phrase "when they go low, we go high" has done irreparable damage to the American political system. Because I
We
saw
should
it,
all
Wait,
go
what does that
low.
mean?
like Michelle Obama said, like when the Republicans do like
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah,
like we
Yeah.
should not have our
The
We should
Democrats
not
are
be
trying to like
going- we
play with
should
the
not-
stability
yeah,
policy.
we
Yeah,
should not-
Democrats
this
need
is
to be
not
more
right.
Yeah,
correct.
because like I mean, granted, I'm not like I can't say this is 100% like valid, but like what I've seen with a lot of like foreign politics, when one party prioritizes opposing another party above like having their own like beliefs and stuff and whatever, and like having their own actual set of like values, they end up just kind of failing. Because like if your entire thing is just opposing the other side, like
That's
Well,
not what he means, though. He means like the Republican Party plays dirty with politics. They
Mhm.
like,
oh okay,
and
Yeah, okay,
she's
okay.
saying the
yeah,
Democrats would be
yeah,
more
that isn't good. We should not fight fire with fire.
Yeah. Like the entire democratic movement is kind of just like posturing, being like, we're civilized, unlike these Republican brutes.
Meanwhile,
And
like,
Yeah,
like,
in that
but
process,
women,
they end
like,
up doing
these
nothing
guys.
to like help the American people.
You know me?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, guys, we care about minorities.
Yeah.
No, I actually have. Hold up.
Oh.
Just give me a second. Shit. Okay.
Wait.
Sarton Paulson. We tweeted this. I think this is like kind of on topic. The last decade has been the Democrats clinging
yeah.
onto the rule book, going,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the Republicans play basketball while dog fucking dunks over.
Yeah, that's the one.
Honestly,
Sarton
yeah.
Paulson tweeted
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, I wonder who.
Do they want to talk about it? Like the
Oh,
No,
Christy
yeah.
Nolan would kill the dog though.
Oh man,
so
dude, we
it's
should
fine, we
have.
got
Dude,
this.
why isn't Joe
RFK
Ash here,
would
bro?
eat
It'd be
it.
so funny if he was here. It'd be so
Yeah.
good.
No,
Dude,
Wait,
no,
who would
actually-
RFK would find it in
Wait,
his
wait, wait,
head.
I'll take the role of the.
Okay.
I'll be. No, actually, no. I don't want to do that. No.
yeah, Abhishek
Because
Abhishek speak.
this is actually what's happening, and it's so annoying. Like
Yeah, like.
we play by the rules. We've played by the rules. We've been civilized little boys, and then they just win. They just do all of this. They push their entire
Yeah,
agenda.
Democrats have been throwing. I don't think it's necessarily like. Yeah, but I don't really think we should necessarily. I mean, I don't say we. I'm not really a Democrat, but like the left shouldn't like respond to what the right's doing by, and same thing with the elements of the right as well. I don't think they should really go be like corrupt and start doing underhanded stuff. I think if anything, like, I think it's just really just being more competent.
Look,
Like I think it's really
I-
it's less
I
of
think-
Yeah, I think it's like holding Republicans accountable for like
yeah.
the underhanded things they do. Yeah, I don't think Democrats
And
have
also,
to.
I think, and also like getting their strengths across to people better. 'Cause that's why they're doing bad right now. They're just not doing a good job at like making the public think that like see what they've done right.
Okay.
Whereas
the big
Republicans are
problem
really
Yeah.
good at
is
The
like
counterpoint to
like,
this
you
is
can't
that
really hold it accountable.
the counterpoint to this is that right now, if we kind of just let them, if we kind of just let them continue doing their underhanded tactics.
Hey, don't say we, okay?
I'm saying.
I am not part of your collective
Alright,
hive mind,
I'm-
alright?
I'm
Do
sorry.
not associate me
Shut
with
That-
your
up.
kind.
I'm sorry. I'm very
Guys,
sorry.
Biden
But
is a god king right now. I think he should assassinate
Biden
Oh,
has
yes,
lost.
this
Biden has
Supreme
lost the
three-fourths
mandate
of
of
the
heaven.
Supreme Court.
The mandate of heaven no longer belongs to Biden. Now RFK has the mandate of heaven.
No, you know alternate history hub. Yeah, he said.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He said that America lost the mandate of heaven after Japan.
Dude, it
beat
now
us in
belongs. It's
football.
gone
So-
to India now.
Bro, Yash, let Abhishek speak.
Yeah, that's messed up, man.
Oh my
But
bad.
yeah,
I'll leave.
Can I finish,
I'm
Abhishek?
leaving. Alright,
Yeah,
bye.
but
Okay.
he said we lost the mandate of heaven after
No,
Japan.
we let.
He'll be
after
back.
Japan beat us in football. So look, American football. They beat us in American football. Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
we
didn't
Wait, what was the
we're-
counter-
didn't
we're
like
gonna dissolve
no,
the-
Austria won, I think, some like international tournament for American
Yeah,
football.
against America, them too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
better at
the
baseball,
Manchurians, the Manchurians are about to take over.
Crazy.
The Manchus.
I love the
Uh,
Manchus.
Speaking of my profile picture,
King Dynasty. King Dynasty Biden.
Dude,
I'm gonna switch back.
Oh,
to
what
the
were we-
Obama one.
Yeah, let's go back to
Biden
Obama.
should like occupy Manchuria.
Wait,
All
in
Biden
our-
What
has
are we
to do is
talking about now?
all Biden has to do is like say Trump is a national security issue and then nuke him. There's nothing.
Yeah,
Yo,
honestly,
oh
that's
wait,
pretty
what happened
kinda-
with that court case? Can someone explain that?
So
With-
ready? So the court case found that when the president does an official act, the only way to attack him for it, if it is like questionable, right, is to impeach him. But they can't like prosecute him for that. But private acts, they're free to prosecute him at any. So like it expanded the president's immunity, the case. That's what they did.
Okay.
So it's specifically in connection to Trump. It's not like random ruling. It's connection to Trump's, case with everything.
That really
Yeah,
only applies to
easy.
the insurrection that he did, because he wasn't president when he did the other stuff.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, he could have been charged with insurrection later on. Who knows? But now that's gone.
But at least, he's still 34 charged felon.
I wanted the insurrection
think-
charge.
I think
I don't
the
care.
worst thing that the founding fathers did, aside from owning slaves, was at least it's making the Supreme Court a partisan thing. At least
Yeah, the Supreme Court is really broken.
why should the the Congress and the president have any role in choosing the courts? That invites partisanship.
Yeah.
I mean, just in my opinion, the Supreme Court and the Senate are both bad institutions.
Yeah.
I mean, the Senate's the Senate. It's like the same thing as the House.
No, because they have two per state, which means that even, like, Wyoming has the same
Okay. I mean, but like,
as New York.
Yeah.
I think it's undemocratic.
Okay, yeah,
Wyoming
it-
should not
it-
be
yeah,
allowed to
I
vote.
think it's insane that because of that, a person can theoretically win the U.S. election with 39% of the population.
yeah, okay.
I think it's popular vote.
Yeah.
something like that.
Now
Well,
Wyoming is not a real
Electoral
state.
college. Am I right, gamers?
based.
Just
Yeah,
states
like-
and small states. It's that easy. That's the ultimate strategy. You don't have to win California, Texas, New York. Okay, you probably need one of those.
Yeah. Something we haven't covered yet. It's like what's it
Trump's a
called?
rapist now.
Oh, the rapist. Sure. Yeah, that's true. Well, I
Is
haven't
he
read
like
that.
charged for that?
No,
No,
the Dr. Epstein document dropped.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
was
isn't it?
Jesus.
Yeah, that was
Absolutely disgusting.
uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable read.
Wait. So okay. While not getting into the specifics, what was it saying? Like,
You want to screen share that?
no.
He watched 12-year-olds do things,
Oh, wait.
and then
And
they
process-
did things to him.
I'll send it to you, Josh. How about that?
Wait, are
Okay,
we talking
but
about
it's
Hunter?
still
Are we talking
just
about
like-
Hunter Biden or?
No, we're
No,
talking
no,
about
Trump.
Donald
Trump.
John
Oh yeah, he also raped
Oh.
he also raped the 12-year-old.
Oh,
Wait, was this like an account or is there any evidence of it?
It's a testimony from 12-year-old.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think this is a psyop. I'm kidding. It's not a psyop. It's not a psyop. I was joking.
This
last
is
time.
the new Joash.
Honestly, yeah,
Replace
I might end up. No, honestly, I don't want to replace him because I'm too unhinged. Like, I feel like if I get into that kind of like space,
It's
I'll just go insane.
okay.
All right, Yash. I just sent it over to you.
Mm. Okay. Oh.
What's it? I yeah. So like the felony charges, though, I don't think the famous Trump quote. If he shot someone on Fifth Avenue, people would still vote for him, right? I don't think they matter at all. For the only
Yeah.
reason they would matter is if it's the 25th Amendment's brought in somehow, and like he can't run. But yeah,
No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I don't think he even goes to jail at this point. Yeah.
I don't
No, no, it's
foresee it.
pretty dark, man. I'm
Yeah, the future of American politics is not.
Eric
Something
Cook.
funny I've seen for proposals for what's coming in 2025 and plus, right, for each candidate, they've had some funny taxation proposals. Did you guys hear about Trump saying he wants to replace the income tax
Oh yeah, with like a
with
Oh, really?
tariffs?
Yeah.
He
tariffs,
wants
yeah.
to replace it with tariffs,
It's so
and
weird.
then
Wait, I want to. It's so weird that both of our like presidential candidates and like everyone in political office is just a protectionist at this point. Like,
and then
so-
Biden he proposed that the capital gains tax exceed 50%.
ooh.
yeah, I don't get Trump's thing. Like everybody
Trump's
knows
thing,
protectionism does not work.
yeah, I can actually show some. Hold up. Stats on. Hold up. Let me just pull this up. I have some interesting.
Well, I guess that's why he was a failure of a businessman.
Yeah, so he was proposing
Damn.
that we replace thing with what is it? Let me just see.
Income tax with.
Yeah, the tails with
Yes.
income tax, and
Yeah.
it seems like, from my understanding of the data, this is not a good idea at all because the simple idea is that
Yeah.
like, okay, one thing is tariff revenue is not that much, right? You can see in this thing,
Mhm.
we don't get that much money from tariffs. It wouldn't raise as much as we do from income tax. Another issue we have is what is it? It's like the idea that when we tax the income tax is good because we get to tax poor people less and rich people higher. But with tariffs, you can't do that. You're taxing everyone. You're taxing everyone, right? So
Yeah, I mean, that's like a staple Republican thing. They like flat tax.
flat taxes, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
horrible proposal. And yeah,
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay, realistically, I don't. This is just posturing. Trump isn't actually going to go through with anything like this.
Yeah, it's stuff to make
Right.
people wild. Like in reality, because I think we saw that kind of with his presidency. Like he was nowhere near as radical as like he made himself out to be. And I think we're gonna see the same thing
No,
now. If he gets elected, like he's not gonna like end up going like.
he was pretty bad.
He was
this
pretty
is a
bad.
stat showing that if tariffs are maximized, it will like affect the low income people like way more than like
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. What do you guys use on tariffs? Because that's an interesting thing.
Ooh.
Like,
Tariffs are
Tariffs,
stupid.
I think
This is not
tariffs
my
are
first
very
idea.
useful. Wait, okay.
Okay.
Wants to?
I'll go, I guess, because
Yeah, sure.
my view on tariffs is that the only like real good use for it is against our enemies. I think weaponizing it is the only good way. Like that's
Mhm.
that's the only situation where I support it.
Like against China, Russia,
Yeah,
like
go
those.
for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like our friends, there's really no point. Free trade. Okay.
I don't think tariffs work even as a weapon because we kind of rely too much
We're
on
just hurting
China.
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's true.
Yeah, we're just hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
Like if we're
used to
doing
have
tariffs against like I don't know Russia, that we don't get that much stuff from, maybe. But like China,
okay, wait, for China then.
China you
I don't
just
know
cook
much
your own
about this, but
population.
okay, what about for China, like, okay, specifically, like, say, cars from China, where they mass produce them. If we don't have that tariff, then does that help our industries more, or does that just...
that only works if we couple it with investment in
Alright, guys, we have
manufacturing.
4
Yeah.
minutes left.
Yeah,
But
I also
Oh.
have
we can go a
to
little
go in, like, I'm going at 12, yeah, I have to go at 12.
we
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
covered all grounds though at this point. The next thing I was
Yeah.
going to say with the taxation proposal, so Trump's trying to, he said he'll replace income tax with tariffs. Biden also said he'll increase capital gains taxes past 50%, which is like a really bad idea because that would like surely decrease investment and stuff. So yeah,
Good.
but both both taxation proposals are pretty
Yeah. I
bad.
think an important point is that
I
every single
yeah, I don't think
presidential
he's gonna be
candidate,
bad
like,
either.
you know, he's not. It's kind of like how if, you know, they're never going to be able to do any of the things that they're like
Yeah.
a lot of the things they're saying. There's
Dude.
no way you can come to a bipartisan deal.
Okay.
Any,
Oh yeah, speaking on tariffs, by the way, I just wanted to add something before we
Yeah.
move on. So yeah, I think weaponizing them is like one of the only good uses because America right now isn't like producing much on our own. So like there isn't really a need for tariffs. But if we're talking about tariffs in general, I think smaller nations could really make use of them to just like get their niche out there. Like I'm pretty sure like Singapore or something imposed heavy tariffs on like semiconductors and stuff, and now they're like some of the biggest producers. It's like having that niche just to like get yourself out there and have like a foothold in the international market might be useful. But America's like long past that.
Yeah.
So tariffs are kind of useless unless we're weaponizing them.
Okay. I think we truly did cover like all grounds.
yeah.
Only okay. I think we should end on with end the podcast with predictions. Like our actual like who do we think's gonna win 2024?
I already showed you guys mine, but I think it's going to be a close election. Trump's going to
Yeah.
win that election. And
Tell-
the
tell me
world's
popular
gonna
and
keep Paul
how are they gonna win? Popular, electoral?
electoral
tell me.
and I don't know
Popular,
about popular.
probably.
It could be
Popular, he
either
could
way.
win, I think, because he's like, I think his voter base is loyal enough to him, and they are slowly expanding. So I think we could probably see a popular vote as well.
I don't see a popular vote. Yeah, I think like electoral win. I don't think Trump has that sway.
The right wing revolution is coming. You
Wait,
cannot
so
react.
Abhishek, you think Biden's gonna win?
No,
No,
I
Trump.
don't have any optimism.
Okay,
I
Trump.
see a Trump win.
Okay, what about you, Keelan?
I think Biden's gonna die. Michelle Obama gets the presidency, not Kamala.
Finally.
And yeah, sweep. Michelle sweep.
No, actually though, like, who do you think?
Trump's definitely winning. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't see Biden getting the electoral votes.
Sam, any optimism? We need some optimism.
If they don't switch Biden out, it'll be close. If they switch Biden out, whoever replaces him is gonna win. Clearly. But I see it's close. I still think Biden can win.
Wait, guys! Breaking news: they just switched
think-
Biden out with they switched him out with Mitch McConnell.
No.
Oh, wait.
Good.
Wait,
Oh,
how are we
no.
even more cooked? That's awesome.
Mitch McConnell's gonna win.
Yeah, to back up Sam's statement, it seems like any other candidate is really like in this graph,
Yeah.
table.
And I think Josh more or less agrees with me. So I think we're all kind of universally like, if Biden stays
Wait.
in the race, he's gonna get cooked.
Yeah. Okay, for my prediction, I think Biden still takes the popular vote. I am a little bit now pessimistic, so I do think Trump wins electoral.
Okay, what about
Wait. What actually? Wait, 1 sec. What makes you guys think Biden
Okay,
would win the
12
popular
p.m.
vote? Because like,
Because no one likes Trump. Everyone hates
Uh.
Trump.
Okay.
I don't know who wins the popular vote.
The only people who like Trump are his base, and that's not the majority of America. Otherwise, he would win. He would
Fingers,
be
right?
winning by a lot.
Yeah, honestly, I think now that I think about it, right? We were talking about the small states being like way too important. That like most small states are Republican, right? Like in terms of population, like Wyoming.
Yeah, those states are all well, the
So yeah, I think that lends itself to Biden winning the. Oh yeah, because that already happened. That makes sense. Yeah, Hillary won the popular vote. Yeah.
If Biden can
Yeah.
secure the I think if he can get all the urban like voters on him, then I think I think that would probably help him a lot.
yeah, but
It
right
all
now,
comes down to Philadelphia beating out all the mega church savages in the east. I mean, in the west.
The beast in the west.
Exactly. Nobody likes those guys.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
But
it's called the global
Cultural
elite.
institutions. Or
the main thing that's making me say Trump wins the electoral is like when you look at the battleground states, it seems like Pennsylvania from North Carolina to like
Okay,
maybe
wait,
even
guys.
Georgia.
I gotta go.
Okay, yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're gonna-
find
we're
out.
gonna-
yeah, we're gonna end
Okay.
like yeah.
Yeah, we all set up predictions. I think yeah, this is a good first episode, guys. So
Alright.
you know,
Yep.
we'll
I'll see you
Alright.
guys on the next episode of the podcast without a name.
After
Yeah.
unnamed podcast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Classic
still no
cast.
name.
Oh
Nice.
shit.
We're
we're
cool.
cutting that.
Yeah.
Unnamed podcast.fm. One.
Alright, so wait 1 second.
The
Mr. Biden.
See you in the next
Alright.
episode. Vote for Biden.
Adios.
Bye bye.
Alright,
Yeah,
so
for
I'm
RFK.
getting called.